That way again this morning with a breakdown as you come out of Diepkloof on the N1 North through the interchange down onto the N12 eastbound towards that Uncle Charlie's exit. So traffic really building up again quite quickly. Third morning in a row through there. The N3 North also with a crash at Helden, so coming out of Alberton and Germiston. Watch for some delays as you head through past the cement factory towards that scene. Pietermaritzburg, a breakdown on your way to Durban. The left lane is closed just at the bottom of the bypass near New England Road. Watch for that one. And Cape Town just started to get busy, but no major issues. The N2 inbound busy from Khayelitsha, busy again as you pass Langa. And the M7 Jakes Curville Drive already queuing out of Mitchell's Plain. Backlogs to the R300. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
It's just gone 6 minutes after 6. Today is Wednesday, the 21st of January, 2026. Live and direct from our studios here at Radio Park Building, SABC HQ, Auckland Park, Johannesburg, to wherever you're hearing us from this morning. In every city, in every town, Dorpi, Township, Kasi, village and hamlet, from the highways to the byways, from the hinterland to the heartland. Good morning to you and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Morning Brief here on SAFM 104 to 107. Among some of the ground we will cover over the next 3 hours, we'll have these milestones. Since July the 6th last year, we've kind of grown accustomed to the KZN Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, pointing an accusatory finger at one state player or another, accusing them of one form of skullduggery or another. But this time around, the former IPID director, that is Robert McBride, has pointed an accusatory finger right back at Mkhwanazi. Sometimes more directly and at times in that kind of connect the dots kind of approach, right? That connect the dots approach that says, I'm saying what I'm saying, but I'm not saying what I'm saying. So McBride has told Parliament, for example, that he giving you updates on business and economic activity throughout the 3 hours. And Sipho Mantula with your Africa Update, a whistle-stop tour of the news that matter across the continent and her diaspora. And that's coming up at about 20 to 7 this morning. Through it all, you and I, Ken and I, ask that we do have a conversation. Let's lead the conversations that move us. Get in touch. Let's talk. 086 000 2032. 086 000 2032. Your WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107. This is the morning brief on SAFM. Context, consequence, and conversation starting now.
This is Lungi on any other regular day.
This economy makes me post once a day. Who does that? Like, ew.
Now this is getting extra with the 20 gig summer deal for just 99 Rand.
I have so many gigs. I could even have a gig, guys. I'm going live every single day to me because get
Extra your summer. Get 20 gigs plus 2 months free YouTube Premium and 100 Voda Bucks exclusively on the VodaPay app. T's and C's apply. Further together, Vodacom.
The citizens want to collect 3 points to emphasize that 2026 is their year.
Matthias Nunes delivers. Haaland's header! Wonderful cross. Superb header. 41st minute. Haaland's first chance.
The visitors, Wolves, plan to reveal a big strategy to shock Sir Guardiola's side.
Mane comes back in field, tries to strike from distance. Tolo! 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 Oh my word! That is sensational!
This is the Premier League. Catch Manchester City versus Wolverhampton Wanderers on Saturday, 24 January at 4:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Are you looking for the best spectacle and sunglass deal? With Specsavers buy one, get one offer, you get great value for money. Get a free pair of branded single vision prescription sunglasses up to 3,300 Rand when you purchase a comprehensive eye examination and spectacle frames with lenses on your first pair. The best part? Choose from top brands like Police, Hugo, Under Armour, Tommy Hilfiger, Red Bull Spect and more. Affordable eye care? Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
Big stories of the day. Hashtag the morning brief.
All right, let's get going this morning with Melissa Buta starting us off with the morning brief in brief. Good morning to you, Melissa. Let's start with the politics of the city of Johannesburg. It never relents, does it, as far as the pressure on Mayor Dada Morero is concerned?
Good morning, Thulasizwe. So Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero is facing a third motion of no confidence, this time from the UDM and Al Jamaa, who accuse him of neglecting duties and sidelining coalition partners. Previous motions, one by the DA and another by Al Jamaa, either failed or were withdrawn. Morero remains confident that the latest motion, expected to be tabled at the next council meeting, pending approval, will not succeed. So we will have to watch and see how this unfolds.
Yeah. And then we have an update as far as the investigation into the fatal crash that occurred in Vanderbijl Park is concerned.
Yes. So the driver of the private scholar transport vehicle involved in the fatal Vanderbijl Park crash that killed 12 pupils has been arrested, with authorities confirming his professional driving permit expired last year. The accident, which occurred on the R553 Golden Highway, also left 5 children injured and 2 critical. The driver faces 12 counts of culpable homicide and reckless and negligent driving. Government officials have pledged support to affected families and announced stricter enforcement and a review of regulations governing private scholar transport amid finding of widespread non-compliance within the sector.
So for some reason, the absence of the EFF leader, Julius Malema, from the ad hoc committee hearings yesterday, and the explanation that was being proffered for that absence just caused a bit of drama in Parliament. It all has to do with him needing to prepare for a big day that's coming up for him on Friday.
Yes. So EFF leader Julius Malema will face pre-sentencing hearings this week at the East London Magistrates Court after being found guilty of violating gun laws during the EFF 2018 5th anniversary event, where he allegedly fired live bullets and possessed a firearm illegally. The EFF has mobilized supporters to attend court on the 23rd of January. Legal experts warn that Malema could face up to 15 years in prison, and a sentence of 12 months or more could see him lose his parliamentary seat under the Section 47 of the Constitution. Analysts also suggest that the case could weaken both Malema's political influence and EFF standing, though pre-sentencing factors such as remorse, harm caused, and rehabilitation will influence the magistrate's final decision. So Friday will be interesting to see what is said and how that may determine his future.
Indeed, it is a big day on Friday for the EFF leader, Julius Malema. Thank you for that, Melissa. In case you missed it yesterday, by the way, what I'm talking about, this drama and exchange of words was between the EFF MP, Leon Matthys, as well as DAMP, Glenis Breitenbach, where Matthys was explaining why Julius Malema was not present and that it had to do with him preparing for this, and then made a comment about weaponizing of the prosecution, which then got Glenis Breitenbach, triggered, and basically they had an exchange of words, which turned out to be quite dramatic for a few moments until it was brought under control.
Thulasizwe Simelane on SAFM.
On the weather front, I've got two warnings for you that have come through from the South African Weather Service. The first one is a yellow level 2 warning, and it is in place for the central and eastern parts of the northwest, central and western parts of the Free State, as well as the northern parts of the Northern Cape. That yellow level 2 warning is for severe thunderstorms resulting in localized damage to infrastructure, settlements, formal and informal, property, vehicles, livelihood, and livestock over the central and eastern parts of the northwest, central and western parts of the Free State, as well as the northeastern parts of the Northern Cape, as I said. Then there's a yellow level 1 warning, and it is in place between Cape Columbine and Cape Agulhas. It is for damaging coastal winds resulting in difficulty in navigation at sea. The rest of your weather looks like this. Pretoria, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 15 to 25. Johannesburg, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 14 to 24. Vereeniging, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 15 to 26. Mbombela, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 16 to 22. Polokwane, cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 16 to 22. Mahikeng, cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers, 18 to 26. Bloemfontein, partly cloudy with scattered afternoon thunder showers, as the temperatures will be 16 to 30. Kimberley, partly cloudy with scattered afternoon thunder showers, 18 to 31. Uppington, partly cloudy with isolated afternoon thunder showers, 20 to 37. Cape Town will be fine, 20 to 31. George, fine, 14 to 25. Gqeberha, fine, 15 to 28. East London, fine, 15 to 25. Durban will be partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 18 to 26. Richards Bay, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 19 to 26. And lastly, Pietermaritzburg will have morning fog, otherwise partly cloudy with isolated showers and rain, 14 to 25.
Worldview Update, bringing you closer to international or global news.
At 22 minutes after 6, let's tell you this story. Britain's government has approved plans for China to build its largest diplomatic mission in Europe near London's financial district, ending years of delays and controversy. The decision, taken despite security warnings from lawmakers, residents, and Chinese dissidents, highlights the UK's ongoing struggle to balance economic engagement with China against growing national security concerns. Let's speak to Anthony van Nieuwkerk, who is a professor of international and diplomacy studies at the Thabo Mbeki African School of Public and International Affairs. Good morning to you, Prof, and thank you for your time. So what do we make of this decision? This is something that's been long in the coming and has been a subject of discussion even between the leaders of both countries, between Keir Starmer and President Xi Jinping over the last while. What does it symbolize? Is this one of those forced tornadoing?
Good morning, Tulas. It's an interesting development. It was long in the making. And I think it is significant because it's symbolic of relationships that are shifting. A big and bold, very prominent piece of land in the middle of London, I think close to the Tower of London, close to the financial district. If you look at Google Maps or Google Earth, you will see where the location is. Very big and very prominent. And it's reflective of the British desire to ensure that in this changing world, they keep their economy going by diversifying trade, economic relations, maybe pivoting away a little bit from the problematic USA and seeking new markets in Asia and particularly China. And it has been doing that for a while, and many countries are following a similar pattern. The concerns that some of the British have, which I was reading up about, why would you be concerned about the world's biggest economy having an office in your capital city, a big office, is that there are fears of national security. Some people believe that the Chinese are building this building because they want to spy on the British. They want to steal their trade secrets and the financial transactions that might pose a threat. If things go sour, they might use the embassy as a base, to influence politics in Britain, exercise cybersecurity attacks, and so on and so forth. But the British intelligence services and the politicians have been looking at this scenario for a number of years, and I think they've discounted it. I must add quickly that modern embassies these days are very well constructed and built quite safely, and is protection from often used as protection from threats from the outside. And the host country also makes sure there are rules and protocol to make sure that the embassy is not used for nefarious purposes. And if it does that, the host country can take action, even close the embassy if necessary. Yeah. So I think all of these issues were circulated and were debated in the intelligence and national security apparatus of the British and the Chinese, by the way. And I think they've come to a mutual understanding. Yeah. And Tulas, if I can quickly add, our listeners who are familiar with Gauteng and Pretoria in particular, Tshwane, will know that there's a very prominent and very big Chinese embassy here, and a very big American embassy too, modern and well equipped. And these are reflections of the relationships between countries. Yeah. And I think that's the context we have to understand.
Absolutely. And part of my fascination with this story, Prof, is that I was watching Farid Zakaria unpacking it and talking about how the world is working around the Trump administration, working around the United States. Something in this moment, and I think you alluded to it briefly, and I'd like you to say a bit more. Something in this moment, that's why I was describing it as a forced tornadoing. Something is pushing and compelling players that ordinarily would have great difficulty in working together to start now looking seriously at, we may have these differences, but how do we make this work?
Yeah, I can say a few words about this. I think South Africans can be proud of the fact that we understand tornadoing very well, and we've been doing that in our foreign policy for a while. When it became clear, that there's a very aggressive Trump administration, Trump 1 and Trump 2, and maybe Vance 1 coming, America is a difficult partner in many ways, and it's only rational and sensible to diversify your trade, economic, and political relations internationally. And we've been doing that for a while. The Europeans are now belatedly beginning to realize that the US is not a reliable partner and, in fact, is threatening their own interests. And this game will play out this week in Davos in Switzerland, where Trump is going to attend and talk to the Europeans about his interests in taking over parts of Europe, which he believes belongs to America. So I think the Europeans are understanding now that they have to do this diversification. They have to look for alternative sources of markets, income, trade, tourism, and you mentioned it. There was a time when people were frowning that tourists that bring, strengthens your economy typically comes from Europe, white people from Europe with lots of money. What we now find is that people, that growing middle class in Asia and in China in particular, has become very strong, and they are welcomed with open arms as tourists. And I think the Europeans understand that. We've understood that for a while now.
All right. Thank you for your time this morning. Professor Anthony Newkirk is a professor of international and diplomacy studies at the Thabo Mbeki African School of Public and International Affairs.
This is SAFM Sport with Zai Khan.
It's a very good morning to you. Let's start with Kaizer Chiefs co-coach Cedric Hayes has fired back at critics, insisting they'll be apologizing by the end of the season. Hayes says he and fellow co-coach Khalil Ben Yusuf are fully qualified and well supported, brushing off outside noise from pundits and rival coaches. Now, these comments come after Chiefs' 1-0 win over Golden Arrows that lifted Amakosi to third on the Betway Premiership table, along with qualification for the CAF Confed Cup group stage. Now, Stellenbosch have kicked off their Betway Premiership campaign with a 1-0 away win over Sekhukhune United in Limpopo. Elsewhere, Manchester City was stunned 3-1 by Bodo Glimt in one of the Champions League great upsets. We also bring you rugby. The Lions are refocusing on the URC after their European campaign ended on points difference. Despite the heartbreak against Perpignan, Ivan van Rooyen's side believe a top 8 finish is within reach. Next up, a trip to Wales to face Ospreys, who've won just 3 of 9 this season. On to cricket, the defending champions Australia have booked their place in the Under-19 World Cup Super Sixes with a dominant win over Japan. Rain, meanwhile, spoiled the clash between New Zealand and Bangladesh in Bulawayo, with the match abandoned after just 10 overs. And finally, Australian Open, Stefano Tsitsipas battled back from a set down to reach round 2 in Melbourne, while Naomi Osaka turned heads and dug deep to overcome Antonio Ruzic in 3 sets after a dramatic jellyfish-inspired entrance on the Rod Laver Arena. Defending champion Yannick Sinner progressed after Hugo Gaston retired. Ben Shelton powered through in straight sets, and Guy Monfils bowed out of the Australian Open for the final time, receiving a standing ovation in his 20th and last appearance. That's your sport. We'll be back top of the hour. Serving it up, I'm Zai Khan.
On the news headlines, former Independent Police Investigative Directorate head Robert McBride will this morning return to testify before Parliament's ad hoc committee. McBride started testifying yesterday. Police say the Squalor transport driver who was involved in a crash in which 12 learners were killed in Vanderbijl Park, Johannesburg, will appear in a local magistrate court tomorrow, and the Justice Department says the Poisons Magistrate Court in Johannesburg will open today despite yesterday's shooting incident outside. 2 people were killed and 3 others wounded. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. Third consecutive heavy day through Diepkloof interchange. Coming from the south on your way up from Eldos, Lenasia, Protea Glen. You know what you went through Monday, Tuesday, going through pretty much similar this morning. It was a breakdown inside the Diepkloof interchange, which has been cleared, but it was there long enough to really back up that first thrust of rush hour. So N1 North into Diepkloof, Uncle Charlie's very heavy crash on the N3 North at Heldenace. Delays coming out of Albert and Germiston this morning up past Elands and through the cement factory territory. Territory on your way towards Bedford. You're very slow and quite a heavy backlog. N1 North to Allendale. So if you're getting through Buccleuch, starting a trip up through Midrand towards Pretoria, that is heavy. Pietermaritzburg will have that 30-minute closure again today and tomorrow. It'll be 3 p.m. until 3:30 between New England Road and Ashburton, a full 30-minute closure both ways of the N3. It was pretty heavily backed up during the closure yesterday. It'll repeat today, and we'll have a final third-day closure tomorrow as well from 3 p.m. Cape Town, two really big and significant traffic light outages this morning. Both of them high-volume routes. One, Mitchell's Plain, M7, R300, no lights there, delays all approaches. The other big one, Stellenbosch Arterial, Robert Sobukwe, 35th Avenue at the top of the airport. Those lights offline as well. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
The business update on SAFM.
Hey, Ndauling, good morning to you. Let's start with news to do with that Netflix deal and that competition for it. Netflix has sweetened what it's offering Warner Bros., hasn't it?
You're absolutely right, Tulas. It's changed the mechanisms of the deal, switching to an all-cash offer with $82.7 billion. This from a deal that was a mixture of cash and stocks. Now, this move is aimed at speeding up approval and strengthening its position against a rival bid from Paramount Skydance. The offer keeps the same valuation of $27.75 a share, which had already secured unanimous support from the Warner Bros. Discovery Board. Netflix says the all-cash structure gives shareholders greater certainty and could allow a vote on the deal as early as April. Now, if approved, investors would also receive shares in Warner Bros. Discovery's global network business, including CNN and the Discovery Channel, which is being spun off. Paramount is continuing with a higher hostile bid for the entire company and is attempting to block the Netflix deal through a proxy battle. Warner Bros. Discovery's board has urged shareholders to reject Paramount's offer, citing financial and execution risks. Now, the news comes as we saw the release of Netflix's earnings, where it topped expectations, driven by membership growth, higher subscription pricing, and increased advertising revenue.
And tell me about, in the mining sector, yes, copper and iron ore production and what it has done for BHP.
Yeah, the miner says output gains were supported by improved efficiencies and favorable market conditions. Looking at copper, BHP reported record throughput at Escondida, the world's largest copper mine, prompting the group to lift its full-year production guidance. Output also improved at Antamina, while Spence and Copper SA remained on track, with Copper SA achieving record refined metal production. Iron ore performance was equally strong. BHP's Western Australia iron ore business posted record production and shipments in the first half, placing it well ahead of typically wetter third quarter conditions. BHP says the results demonstrate its operational momentum as the group continues to invest in long-term growth, particularly in copper, which is seen as critical to global electrification and energy transition needs.
Lastly, Ndauling, recap how we closed yesterday and how the day is starting in those markets that have started trading.
Kicking things off on Wall Street, it was red across the board overnight amid concerns about President Trump's clash with European leaders over ownership of Greenland. That, of course, bringing tariffs back to the table. The Nasdaq took the biggest hit, down 2.4%. That, however, didn't completely filter through to the JSE as the flight for safety pushed gold to another record high, further boosting local markets. We saw the all-share closing 0.35% higher. The rand pretty range-bound this morning at 16.40 to the dollar, just above 22 to the pound, and tumbling against the euro at 19.22. Oil also in the red this morning, down 0.9% on the back of that risk-off mood. Asian markets also caught up in that downbeat sentiment, downbeat mood we are seeing in equity markets, starting the day in negative territory.
All right, Dowling, thank you for that. We'll talk to you in the second hour of the show, just after 7:30.
Africa Update on SAFM.
And let's go to Sipho Mantula for that. Raz, good morning. Let's start with a wound that has been festering for well over half a century, the killing of Patrice Emery Lumumba. There's some new developments on that front.
That is quite true, Tula Jumbo Africa. Remember last week we did some tribute to Lumumba, 65 years. Now what we are seeing is the family of Lumumba, Tula. I mean, this has been a long-standing trial for the past 15 years. Others are calling it a law overdue legal reckoning over the complicity of the Belgian official by the name of Etienne Davingon. This was a one-time a European commissioner at the age of 93. He was a Belgian novice, meaning a new beginner in the diplomatic space during the killing of Lumumba in 1961. Now, the family has went to the courts this week to plead for this trial so that they can look into what really happened. Others are saying this is not about the revenge, but about a safety for knowledge. This comes from one of the Patrice sons, Roland Lumumba, who was talking from Kinshasa. He says millions of people would like to know the truth about what happened to their father. We will term it to us as one of the major colonial crimes, where we saw how the mercenaries from Belgium, the US, how they colluded in the killing of Lumumba. The lawyers, they are saying probably 2027 to us, this matter can go to trial, and that's how they'll want the end of this matter. What we have, it is only the truth that was brought in 2022 to us.
Yeah, I remember that. One of those grim, relics, really, that someone could collect something like that. Let's go to South Sudan, Sipho, and talk about the complexities of having a vice president that is detained, but there is retention of other opposition players in the government of South Sudan, including one who happens to be the wife of the vice president that is detained.
That's quite true, Tulas. What we saw this week, Salva Kiir fired the Minister of Interior, the wife of Riek Machar, Angelina Tena. And Angelina Tena, Tulas, before he was the Minister of Defense, pushed to Interior Ministry in 2023. Now he has been removed. I mean, she was removed without giving any reasons. And now she has brought Aleu, a veteran loyalist of Salva Kiir, who served in that post between 2013 and 2015. Now, this might also have a crack to us on the South Sudan peace process, because once you remove one of the members of the opposition, which is not opposition, because when you talk of SPLM in opposition, this was one party before to us, and the loyal supporters of Riek Machar, they are saying this is a clear sign of desperation. It seems government is trembling under pressure, and it will affect the security situation. Remember that this woman was absent from the ministry since 2025 in March. But this week, to us, it was the last made by the president by removing the wife of Riek Machar from the cabinet.
All right, Sipho, let's talk about the resident of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, if we must. Tell me about what he's saying about the deal that the UK has struck about Chagos Islands.
So this is a long-standing matter. It went to the UN Security Council. It went to the International Court of Justice. This was the occupation of the Chagos Island by the British in the 1800s, 1814. Now, they've been going to and fro to us, a long-standing issue, but where does America comes in? America has a military base in Diego Garcia that is next to the Chagos Island. And this is the island that you find in the ocean tip of the India, south of Maldives. And this island, Tulas, was seized by the British in 1814, ceded by France, if you look at the history of that country. Now, they've agreed, Tulas, that they will hand it over, but with a lease of 99 years, because the UK doesn't want to tamper with the US military base that is there. And that military base, we know, Tulas, is for strategic reasons for the US. When they want to attack East Africa, they can use it. When they want to attack the other countries that are very close to it, if one can look at where is the U.S. national security strategy is moving. They are also afraid of China and Russia, that this is why they want to acquire the Greenland, but also this Chagos and Diego is very close to the US. Hence, Trump is using harsh words, saying to us this deal by the British and Mauritius, it is one of the act of great stupidity. I don't know who is the stupid here to us when a person uses such harsh words. President Trump saying that the sovereignty of the island still belongs to UK. And those are the after effects, to us, of what I'll always say, the Berlin Conference after effects.
Yeah.
Some of them is the occupation by the superpowers. But Chagos Island, to us, like I said, is where you have a military base of the US.
I told you the story, didn't I? My interaction with the Chagos Islands delegation years ago when I was still a junior reporter. They came through here at the SABC, and I had never, at that point, I had never even heard of the Chagos Islands. But that was one of those eye-opening and fascinating encounters that I had. Lastly, let's go to your historical archives. 21 January 1987, a dark day in our history.
That's quite true, Thulas. When you looked at it 9 years ago, when this matter appeared before the TRC, Thulas, when you look at the TRC files, the KwaMakuta massacre, where children were killed, Thulas, if you look, 13 people lost their lives, 7 children, and there was an allegation of an attack that was placed to the KwaMakuta Youth League leader, Victor Ntuli, who was 21-year-old founder and a treasure during that time. And this was what you might call the implication of 30 years ago, the Attorney General, what we can call a public prosecutor now, Thulas, Tim McNally, said that he wanted to prosecute Malan and Eugene de Kock, because this was a third force that was also fueling black-on-black violence. I don't want to go to the MK War Veterans Conference, where the former president raised this issue, Thulas, sharply, about what really happened during apartheid days and how there was collusion by the apartheid government to arm other groups of black people, to attack other Africans or black people. And this is the effects of the TRC when this KwaMakuta went to the TRC, and one of the person who was in an investigation task team said that there was a clear picture of an organized network intending on wiping out the support of the ANC and fermenting black-on-black violence, assisted by the apartheid government. So these are the effects, to that I always say. When you want to go deeper into the TRC files, you'll find the massacres, raids, abductions that was having a hand of the apartheid government. And you still have them out there. They're enjoying their packs, their packages, all apartheid generals, intelligence or operatives. Others were on the payroll of the state at some point. So you ask yourself, don't we really read our history sharply and deeply to say people suffered on this day, Thulas? Asante sana, Thulas, as we are still leading the true position, SAFM observing the Education Month.
All right, Sipho, thank you for that. That's Sipho Mantula with the Africa Update. Just a roundup of some key developments around the continent and her diaspora, and of course, his ever popular historical archive that he always opens up for us.
What if your child could achieve better academic results in 2026? At Teneo School, they can. Our smart school system tracks every learner in real time and helps teachers spot gaps early. The results? With over 3,500 successful Teneo School matriculants, learners improve their average marks by 12% in the first year. Access affordable private schooling, no restrictive entry, fees starting from 3,000 Rand per month. Enroll now for 2026 at teneoschool.co.za. That's TENEO school.co.za.
The best summer experience is at the cricket ground. The Proteas and the Windies are gearing up for the T20 World Cup. This is the first T20 international contest. Be part of it. South Africa versus West Indies on Tuesday, 27 January at 5:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC2. With reports on SABC radio stations. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Fly Safair has been named the most on-time airline in Africa and the Middle East by Cirium, world leader in aviation analytics. That's 3 years in a row we've been recognized for reliably getting you to the places and faces you love. But reliability doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from care, consistency, and a commitment to service excellence. Because getting you there on time isn't just what we promise, it's what we do. Fly Safair, for the love of flying.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Well, here's a big delay that you might not be used to or expecting. It's the N1 North getting out of Joburg on your way through Midrand. Crash just up by the Allendale Road exit. Now, that is causing a major backlog, and I would say it's worth avoiding. It's bad enough to push N1 North back as far as Ravonia, and bad enough to back you up on the N3 as you arrive into Buccleuch from Limbro Parkside, and then you sit up through the Utscare Bridge all the way through to that crash scene at Allendale. It's big traffic. It's heavy across all lanes. Try and stay away from it. Diepkloof interchange, again, another really bad morning. N1 North queued from the N12 Potch Highway up to Diepkloof for a turn out of Uncle Charlie's, and the N17 roadworks between Boxburg and Wadeville slowing things up again. If you're on the run from Pietermaritzburg down to Durban or vice versa, no problems. Keyridge, Cliffdale, that looks all right. The N2 North is already queuing from the M7 up into Spaghetti Junction. Quite a bit of pressure earlier than normal this morning. Well, it's always there, but it's a touch heavier. And Cape Town, two really big traffic lights out at really busy junctions. M7, R300 at Mitchell's Plain. Both of those highways badly backed up towards the Samora Michelle Philippi side. And no traffic lights at the other real busy one. It's Robert Sabikwe, 35th Avenue and Stellenbosch Arterial. Top of the airport, Motterdam area. Traffic backing all approaches into that one as well. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
What's with the camouflage, Dorf? I'm going hunting. Just me, nature, and my most underrated off-roader, a rental car. Hunting? You could fit that little car in your backpack, Dorf. I sit in the driver's seat. Baggage at the back, chairs on the roof. The kudu is going to get in and strap its own seatbelt, Savvy. Could do with more legroom, Dorf. Go hunt for a new 4x4 at WeBuy Cars. They got great deals. Oh, shot, Savvy.
Don't be doof, be savvy. We buy cars geared for that big trip, geared for you.
The thirst for maximum points has kicked in. Ziga Mambo and Amakosi are both looking for first victory in Group D. This is the bottom of the table contest of the CAF Confederation Cup. Witness the Southern African Derby. Zesco United clashes with Kaizer Chiefs on Sunday, 25 January at 2:30 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Then on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Imagine if you could save time like you save money. A second here, a minute there. Type a little faster, walk a little faster. Or you could stop scrolling on the internet. Just think of all the hours you'll save. Now what if you could take all that time and invest it? Watch it grow. Until eventually, one day, you'd have so much time that you wouldn't know what to do with it all. But unfortunately, time doesn't work like that. It can't be stored or banked. And unlike money, you can't make it back. That's why after 50 years of investing, we've learned that time is the greatest gift of all. And the good news is, if you invest early, time gives you money. And then money gives you more time to do whatever you want to do, even if it is scrolling on the internet. Ellen Gray, long-term investing. Ellen Gray is an authorized FSP.
This is Thulasizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief.
9 minutes to 7. Let's focus on the psychosocial impacts and the grief that has accompanied the tragedy that occurred in Vanderbijl Park. The Department of Health in Gauteng, for example, is appealing to the public to stop circulating fake and AI-generated images that purport to show the children that died in that incident involving learner transport a vehicle and a truck in Vanderbijl Park. Officials warn that misinformation, including false images and inflated fatality numbers, all of that deepens the trauma for grieving families. The tragedy itself unfolding suddenly, publicly, and under intense scrutiny. Let's speak to clinical psychologist Dr. Dan Hollander, who is also an executive committee member of the Trauma and Violence Division of PSY-SA, talking to us about the devastating emotional impact on parents who have lost their children and how they are being forced to grieve unexpectedly in the public eye while also confronting all of this misinformation, graphic images and false narratives circulating on social media. Good morning to you and thank you for your time, Doc. Let's just start with, there were some images that were shared and there's something to be said about a grief that is shared by South Africans in a dignified way, and then there's something else about the causing of spectacle around what should be dignified grief of parents who have lost this much. But I wanted us to start with just that rush of emotion when we saw those images, rightly or wrongly, of those parents. What do we glean into the stages of grief, especially when you find out about the death of a loved one in such a public manner?
Thank you for having me on the show. Exactly, this is a profoundly abnormal and devastating event, and shock, numbness, confusion, anger, even sometimes feeling quite empty. These are very normal human responses to a very not normal, traumatizing tragedy. And I think in the first few days, the most important supports that we need to offer to the families is actually very simple. We need to provide families with safety, presence, and containment, not pressure families to talk, and not pressure people to be strong, and not pressure that this is not the time to make sense of what happens. Often the most helpful thing is having people around you who can sit with you, help you rest, eat, sleep. And I think, like as you so rightfully say, there's an element of this where it becomes a newsworthy thing that you can scroll through at late at night, as Alan Gray just reminded us. But that's a selfish need of your own. And at this point in time, especially within a country like South Africa, where we hold on to principles like Ubuntu, it's very important that we realize that our actions hold the humanity of the families who have lost loved ones here.
Yeah.
And that is an important responsibility for all South Africans to play, especially those who still want to be human.
Yeah. Would you say that the proliferation of these digital media platforms and social media has somewhat altered the way in which people grapple with a loss, such as the loss of a loved one and the grief that is attendant thereto? I mean, just a couple of minutes ago before we went on air, for example, I was seeing images. Unfortunately, you're just scrolling up on social media and there's no warning, and you're seeing the image of one of the people that was shot at the Boysens Magistrates Court. And you wonder, if I was a family member of this person, what would be going through, what would this be doing to my ability to cope and try and deal with this situation?
I think, if we're talking about media and media pictures and AI generated pictures, I mean, it plays to a different part of our brain. It plays to our impulse, and it gets an immediate reaction. And these are a part of marketing, advertising, but these are things that we know of for decades. This isn't a new thing with AI. I mean, if you think about media, if it bleeds, it leads. It's an old idea, moral panic, that we play onto the impulse self. But the important thing to remember is the shorter and shorter our span of attention becomes, the less likely we are to attribute to what is actually really the most important thing about being a human, which is connection, which is about building communities together. It's about taking social responsibility for each other. And there's very little that you're going to take social responsibility for if you see something that creates an emotion in you, and then you scroll to the next story. I mean, you spend less than 30 seconds on something that requires months, if not years, of processing. And that's the tragedy of this, is the speed at which things go, and unfortunately, as a result, as human beings, we don't spend the time that we need on the things that are extremely important. It echoes a little bit what Biko said of material want is bad enough, but coupled with spiritual poverty, it kills. It's that the thing that we really need to protect more than anything else is the soul of the people, is the soul of the community. And around these times, there is such an important role of dignity, of communal dignity, that comes from the communities, and then that is being under threat in the way in which you mentioned before.
Yeah, and I imagine that with the pervasiveness of social media and digital media, as well as traditional media, the 24-hour news cycle, there's a great deal of intellectual work that is perhaps happening in your field about how to guide people through the process of grief under these new realities. What's the best thinking? What are some of the tools in the toolbox that you are starting to explore more with families, with people going through grief in these circumstances?
I think it's important that we differentiate between healthy grief and unhealthy grief. I think grief is as old as mankind. Sometimes the cultural wisdom that we've held from generation to generation is still very relevant today. And I think, the within each one of our cultures, and we have such a beautiful diversity, a real tapestry of different cultures, different worldviews of how to handle grief work, and nothing can really replace that. And I think, we've got to make sure that we don't follow those rituals, those traditions, just, in a very dogmatic way, but really take the meaning and the connection, because a lot of it is rooted down to the three principles that don't change, which is it's about content, it's about dignity, and it's about taking time. The other part is that there are times when grief does become unhealthy. We're looking at things like, for example, children or adults who continue to struggle with things like persistent nightmares, intense fear, withdrawal, or loss of functioning, at school or at home, or just can't get out of bed in the morning. And if that goes on for, let's say, for longer than a week, that's when professional psychological support becomes especially important. And then it's about, the other thing that doesn't change is the fact that the human body is always in a state of healing. It's normal and it's healthy for a human body to resolve itself through healing. And, in the same way, it's not the doctor that heals the body, it's the body that heals itself. In the same way, it's not a psychologist that heals the mind, it's the mind that heals itself. What the doctor and psychologist does is create the best working environment for the body and for the mind to heal. And I think in that light as well is probably the latest techniques. Is about the challenges that come with the new technologies that arise. And at this point in time, it's about how do we keep a community dignity? How do we keep a community respect in place? That's where the research goes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for sharing those insights with us this morning. That's Dr. Dan Hollander, clinical psychologist and executive committee member of the Trauma and Violence Division of PSY-SA. Let's go to Ondela Mbana on standby with the latest news.
Outsurance is in the business of saving you money on your car insurance premium. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754.
Thank you, Tulas. On the top stories, McBride returns to continue with his testimony, and Trump's plane lands safely after minor electrical issue. For SFM News, I am Ondela and a very good morning. Former Independent Police Investigative Directorate head Robert McBride will this morning return to testify before Parliament's ad hoc committee. McBride started testifying yesterday. His testimony follows testimonies of previous witnesses, including KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, suspended Police Ministry Chief of Staff Cedric Kabinde, and fired former Acting Deputy Police Commissioner Khumbudzo Phahlane. Mkhokheli Bandla reports on the serious allegations McBride has made so far.
On his first day, the former IPD head told MPs that crime intelligence operatives attempted to recruit investigators working on sensitive corruption cases, including the probe into former Acting Police Commissioner Khumbudzo Phahlane. He also linked those allegations to the murder of senior IPD investigator Mandla Mahlangu after he made a sworn statement. MPs are expected to press McBride further on allegations of infiltration, interference and national security risks. Mkhokheli Bandla, SABC News, Parliament.
The scholar transport driver who was involved in a crash in which 12 learners were killed in Vanderbijl Park, Johannesburg, is expected to appear in a local magistrate court tomorrow. The 22-year-old man is facing 12 counts of culpable homicide as well as reckless and negligent driving. 3 learners are still in hospital following the crash, which happened on Monday. Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi told the media yesterday that the driver's driving permit expired last year. Provincial Police spokesperson Mavela Masondo.
The police have arrested the 22-year-old scholar transport driver. He was arrested after he was discharged from hospital. He is expected to appear before Vanderbijl Park Magistrates Court. The driver of the truck that was involved in the accident escaped unharmed, while the passenger sustained injuries and was receiving treatment in hospital.
The Justice Department says the Boysens Magistrate Court in Johannesburg will open today despite yesterday's shooting incident outside. 2 people were killed and 3 others wounded. The department's Deputy Minister Andres Nel says security measures around courts need to be reviewed urgently following the incident in which gunmen opened fire on a group of people attending a court session. He says he's engaging police management on strengthening policing around the courts.
The fact that this incident took place outside and in close proximity to the operations of the court would need us to reassess and strengthen visible policing and other security measures outside of the court. And we've already raised that with the station commander, Brigadier Jones. It's also a conversation that we are having with Minister Kachalia and the Deputy Ministers of Police, Boshielo and Matale, to strengthen policing.
2 suspects arrested in connection with the mass shooting incident in the Marikana informal settlement in Philippi East on the Cape Flats are due to appear at the Athlone Magistrate Court today. 6 people were shot dead at Eshibin last weekend. 1 person who was wounded died on the way to hospital, while the 8th died in hospital. Western Cape Deputy Police Commissioner Leander Damoy earlier spoke of the possibility of more arrests. This as investigations continue. U.S. President Donald Trump's Air Force One has landed safely at Joint Base Andrews near Washington to change aircraft. This after a crew on his initial flight identified what the White House has described as a minor electrical issue shortly after takeoff. It says the trip will continue on a new aircraft. Trump will deliver a highly anticipated address to the world and business leaders at the World Economic Forum 2026 annual meeting in Davos. He will arrive in the Swiss resort amid a fierce standoff with European allies over the future of Greenland. Shaween Braspe's report.
After European and NATO leaders gave a robust defense of their position in support of the international rules-based system, President Trump has previewed his visit to the Swiss Alps with a quip that it's going to be interesting in Davos. Trump told a press conference at the White House Tuesday, marking his 1 year in office, that he would speak to his international audience about America's successes under his leadership.
Recapping the top story, former Independent Police Investigative Directorate head Robert McBride will this morning return to testify before Parliament's ad hoc committee. I'm Ondilambana for SFM News headlines at 7:30.
Outsurance will go out of their way to try and save you money on your car insurance. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Want to know how much money Outsurance saves 35-year-old Zanai on her car insurance?
A whopping 1,180 Rand.
That's an incredible 1,180 Rand monthly saving on Zanai's 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLA. And the out bonus you'll get?
It is close to 6,500 Rand in 3 years if I'm claim-free.
Nice. How much money could Outsurance save you? SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
A very good morning to you. In your SFM Sports Headline Soccer action, the Kaizer Chiefs co-coach Cedric Hayes says Chiefs will stay in the title race after climbing to 3rd on the log. And in golf, world-class golf returns to Durban with the Durban Open back. We'll have details just before 7:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. Heavy delays getting through Buccleuch interchange on your way up through Midrand towards Pretoria. It's a crashing near Allendale Road. It's worth avoiding. The N1 North starts to queue from Rivonia, the N3 from Limbro Park. Both of those highways into Buccleuch jammed solidly, and then the N1 queues all the way up northbound towards Allendale Road. Super heavy backlogs in that area. Also collision N1 south before Rivonia. So from Buccleuch heading south in towards sort of that Rivonia exit. It's quite a heavy backlog there. A lot of pressure around Buccleuch interchange today. The N1 from the Golden Highway side of the N12 at Eldos all the way up through Deepcliff to Uncle Charlie's jam-packed again. Delays coming out of Benoni with a breakdown on the N12 before Atlas Road. That's pushing a queue almost back as far as Snake Road. Durban's N2 North already under pressure from the M7 Bluff exit as you make your way up through Spaghetti Junction. Quite heavy into the roadworks. M7 going into Pinetown up to St John's Avenue Bridge from Queensborough very slow, and M4 between Umhlanga and Virginia Airport under pressure as well. Two big traffic lights out around Cape Town. Robert Sobukwe, 35th Avenue, Stellenbosch arterial. Delays all over that junction in Monadam. And the lights are out on the M7, Jakes Curville R300. Backlogging traffic on both routes out of Mitchell's Plain. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
8 minutes after 7. Welcome to the second hour of the Morning Brief here on SAFM 104 to 107. I hope your morning is getting off to a good start, right? Just as you ready yourself for what the day holds in store. We are here to just fill the picture for you with all the news and current affairs developments here at home, on the continent, and around the world that are likely going to move the needle in your world. Speaking of that then, among some of what we will cover in this hour, let me start with this half hour. We'll reflect on the first day of the testimony of former IPID director Robert McBride before Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating the allegations first levelled by General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, the KwaZulu-Natal police commissioner. McBride, I was saying earlier on that since July the 6th last year, we are used to Mkhwanazi being the one pointing an accusatory finger at various players across the system. This time around, it was the former IPID director, Robert McBride, doing exactly that and flipping the script and basically accusing Mkhwanazi of quite a number of behaviors that he says he found problematic, in the main being alleging that Mkhwanazi attempted to interfere with investigations by IPID, especially when those investigations involved the former acting police commissioner Khomotso Phahlane. So we'll talk to Mkhokheli Bandla, SABC senior parliamentary reporter who's been tracking that story for us, and he will update us in the next few minutes. And then immediately after that, we focus on the incident that occurred at the Booysens Magistrates Court in Joburg, the killing of 2 people and the wounding of 3 others. In broad daylight, really, in a brazen manner, that it occurred just outside the Booysens Magistrates Court. What does it tell us about the safety of judicial officers and other legal players and members of the public, really, who interact with the courts? Because you'll remember this is not the first incident that has occurred in the last while, happening either inside or just around a court premises. We'll be speaking to Nilan Karikan, the president of the Judicial Officers Association of South Africa. And of course, at about 7:45, we'll come back to Zolinzi Mavavi and we'll have that conversation about the pay increases that are on the cards for public office bearers. 4.1% for judges, magistrates, traditional leaders and members of independent constitutional institutions, but 3.8% increase for those including cabinet ministers, MPs and provincial executives. It's not gone down well in the current environment. economic environment, socio-economic environment. So we'll talk to Zwelinze Mavavi at about 7:45 this morning. Keep your calls coming and your WhatsApp voice notes and messages coming. I will read some of your messages, play back your voice notes, and also interact with you through your calls. So the number to dial 086 000 2032 086 000 2032. Your WhatsApp voice notes and messages 0614 104 107. Let's get into it. The second hour of the morning brief on this Wednesday.
Babinanoko want to rubber stamp that kumnandi in the top half, while Ezimnyama Ngenkani are highly spirited to make this their season to shine. This is the Betway Premiership. Lesekazini forever. Catch Skukune United versus Orlando Pirates on Saturday, 24 January at 2:30 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Then on SABC radio stations at 3:30 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
This message is brought to you by Eskom, redefining for a better future.
Are you running a business? Every rand counts. Save electricity and cut costs by switching off lights, computers, and air cons after hours. Use energy-efficient lighting and equipment and make saving electricity part of your daily routine. Smart energy habits mean lower bills and greener business future. Let's power success efficiently.
Let's use electricity wisely. Eskom.
Thulasizwe Simelane is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
13 minutes after 7. The former IPID director, that's the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, former head, Robert McBride, has cast a harsh spotlight on KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, telling Parliament he found it strange and troubling that Mkhwanazi was first on the scene when IPID investigator Mandla Mahlangu survived an assassination attempt, and again after he was murdered, yet Mkhwanazi did not attend Mahlangu's funeral. McBride says Mkhwanazi has been inconsistent and less than candid about the true nature of his relationship with Mahlangu, a relationship that Mahlangu himself had described as close. At the same time, McBride alleges that Mkhwanazi played an undue and potentially prosecutable role in trying to interfere with IPID investigations, particularly those involving former acting National Police Commissioner Khomotso Phahlane. Watching all of that for us has been Mkhokeli Bandla, SABC News senior parliamentary reporter, who joins us now for an update. Good morning to you, Mkhokeli. Thank you for your time. Let's recap day one. We're going into day two today of the testimony by Robert McBride. Getting off to a bit of a heated start, contention all round between him and the MPs, between MPs themselves.
Good morning to you, Thulasizwe, and also to the listeners of SAFM. Indeed, Thulasizwe, yesterday was a heavy and politically charged day here at Parliament, with former IPID head Robert McBride placing some of the most senior figures in policing under the spotlight, raising allegations that go to the heart of police integrity, national security, and accountability. He is a central witness in this committee, it works, and not just because of who he is, but because of what he oversaw. Because as the former head of IPID, he was responsible for investigations into corruption at the very top of the police service, including cases involving a former national police commissioner. And his testimony yesterday cut across three major fault lines. It's the murder of an IPID investigator, the handling of corruption cases against Khomotso Phahlane, and his controversial relationship with private investigator Paul O'Sullivan. One of the most explosive moments to us came when McBride was questioned about the murder of senior IPID investigator Mandla Mahlangu, who was working on sensitive corruption cases. He raised serious concerns about the conduct, as you have already alluded to us, of senior police leadership following the Mahlangu killing, particularly the role and proximity of KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. What McBride did, he told MPs that Mkonazi was described as a close friend of Masangu, yet was absent from his funeral, despite allegedly being first on the scene when Masangu was shot, not once but twice, including during the fatal attack. He told MPs Thulas, or effectively, he just fell short of making a direct accusation, but made it quite clear in his view that conduct was deeply troubling and consistent, as we have already alluded. So Thulas, that moment was quite an allegation that left the room visibly tense when McBride made such utterances before this committee. So he was careful in his wording, but the implication was unmistakable. He said there's a trail that leads back to police, and that the key figures may be understating their closeness and involvement with the female investigator, Manda Masangu. So for a committee tasked with probing criminality tools and political interference in the justice system, those are extraordinary claims and ones that MPs are likely to return to when other witnesses are called before this committee. So if I still have time, I can actually tell you how he tried to push back against Pathane's allegations before this committee. When Pathane appeared last week, what he did, McBride also used his appearance to directly respond to claims made last week by former acting National Police Commissioner Khumuso Pathane. Pathane last week, he told the committee that McBride, together with Paul O'Sullivan, they ran a sustained media campaign, or what you like, or if you like, what he calls a propaganda machinery to tarnish his reputation and block his permanent appointment as National Police Commissioner. So yesterday, McBride rejected that version outright. He told the members of Parliament that Pathane is not the victim of a smear campaign, but a senior police leader facing multiple criminal charges, some of which are now finally enrolled for trial after years of delays. So what we're expecting to happen now, Thulas, is that today the man is going to come back for a second day where the MPs are going to ventilate and go deeper into his allegations that he has made. And then he is concluding today. That is what is expected. And then from tomorrow, we are expecting the ENPD deputy chief to come before the committee also.
All right. All right. Thank you for that, Mkhokheli. That's Mkhokheli Bandla, SABC News senior parliamentary reporter, giving you that comprehensive recap of day one of the testimony of Robert McBride before the ad hoc committee in Parliament. We're going into day two, as Mkhokheli was telling you. Day two is today.
The citizens want to collect 3 points to emphasize that 2026 is their year.
Matthias Nunes delivers. Haaland's header! Wonderful cross. Superb header. 41st minute. Haaland's first chance.
The visitors, Wolves, plan to reveal a big strategy to shock Sir Guardiola's side.
Mane comes back in field, tries to strike from distance. Tolu! 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 Oh my word! That is sensational!
This is the Premier League. Catch Manchester City versus Wolverhampton Wanderers on Saturday, 24 January at 4:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The only talk radio morning breakfast show that makes sense. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane.
20 minutes after 7, 2 people have been killed and 3 others wounded in a brazen daylight shooting at the Boysens Magistrates Court in Johannesburg. The attack took place at the court's main entrance while a group of people were attending a murder and attempted murder case. According to police, the group had gathered to support an accused facing murder and attempted murder charges linked to a 2025 case in Mondio. Preliminary investigations suggest that 3 suspects approached the group as they were leaving the court, opened fire and fled in a suspected cloned white Audi vehicle. The motive for the attack remains unknown, and no prior security threat had been flagged for the case. It's the latest in a concerning rise in incidents happening in and around the country's lower courts. And someone who will know all about it is Neelan Karikan, the president of the Judicial Officers Association of South Africa. Good morning to you. Let me start with a broad question. Your reaction to this incident happening as it did, just at the entrance, the main entrance to the Boysens Magistrates Court.
Thank you so much, Thulasizwe. Right now, as you can see, the whole situation in the country has been escalating on a security point, and this was actually inevitable. This has been happening and building up throughout the country. You'll appreciate that these incidents are not just happening at the entrance of the court, outside the court building. It's actually happening within the court system. The level of criminality and the sophistication with which they operate and the impunity with which they do this is actually very scary. And if you look at the judicial system, I mean, it is not just affecting the judiciary, it's not just affecting the prosecutors, it's affecting the legal community generally. Can you imagine our attorneys, how are they supposed to actually operate? Because they are facing the same risks that we do. Because in order to protect or to defend their own clients, they cannot do that even freely, fairly, and the situation is really bad.
What does it say about the security infrastructure in and around courts? Has anything shifted other than lamenting the weaknesses? I remember when the Justice Committee went on a tour around the country inspecting the situation and finding metal detectors not working. That was 2024. And you and I had a subsequent conversation about threats leveled at judicial officers on a daily basis. Other than lamenting and pointing at the problem, has anything changed or shifted in the approach, in the deployment of resources that we can say maybe we're not quite there, but we're getting somewhere?
To my mind, there has been an improvement. I know that the Department of Justice has been upgrading security systems throughout the country, but the difficulty is the levels at which we are currently operating. I don't even think they have the capacity to really protect us. They really need to divert funds and improve every aspect of security within the court system. It's difficult to protect people outside the court system, outside the court building, but within the court building and within the judiciary. I'll give you an example, a further example. A colleague in Randburg, a magistrate that sits in the bail court, she has been threatened. She has already received protection, and whilst under protection a few days ago, there had been a shootout. Unfortunately, I have not seen that being publicized nationally or even locally. And it's so difficult for a magistrate to literally go and really do their work freely and without any fear, favor, or prejudice. There's actually no words. You've already understood the dangers and the difficulties lower court judges are facing. They receive actually zero protection. It's like 1 in 1,000 or 2 in 1,000 get a little bit of protection. Even though they get that limited protection, the rest of them are left to their own devices. You know the nature of the matters that appear before our court. In fact, every type of criminal matter ends up in the lower courts, whether it's murder, rape, robbery, syndicates, organized crime, it's all there. And our level of sophistication to secure the system, it's breaking down. And as you can see, if it continues in this fashion, and if we don't really address these issues immediately, the whole system, I don't know.
In fact, I wanted you to talk to that, the systemic threat. Far be it from me to invite you to engage in speculation, but part of the context we paint in this incident in Boysens is that it related to a murder and attempted murder case, and the people that were shot at, including those that died, were reportedly there to support the accused. What are the systemic threats of not getting a hold of this security situation as it relates to the rights of people to face proper and due process and the rights of victims and their families to get justice in a way that is controlled within the system, as opposed to, I don't know, vengeance manifesting here and there.
You must appreciate the whole system, the way it is structured. When our witnesses come through for these criminal matters, and these are serious criminal matters, and these victims, when they come through to court, the court is set up in such a way that an accused person, witnesses, whether for the defense or for the state, they all loiter and they all sit around the same vicinity. There's no separation of witnesses where they have got a secure space and they're protected. So the level of intimidation starts even at the most basic level. So the infrastructure and the manner in which the court is built and structured, it doesn't really, you don't really feel safe even as a witness. Can you imagine attorneys are being targeted? Now, if an attorney is going to be targeted in this fashion, how is he supposed to really operate and do his work without any concern? And you must understand, in our courts, we have a lot of professionals and experts, forensic experts that come through for murder matters and the like.
Yeah.
And when they give evidence, they either give evidence for the state or for the defense. But when they give evidence for the state, you must know their evidence literally clinches the state's case. So they will automatically be targeted. If it's a murder matter and there's an expert witness that's going to testify, that expert witness is automatically under threat. There's no protection even on that level. They are left to their own devices.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Lastly, let me take advantage of the fact that I'm talking to you this morning and ask you to respond to the announcement and confirmation by President Ramaphosa that he's signing off on the recommendation of the independent commission, and as it relates to your field, that salaries of judges, magistrates, and traditional leaders will rise by 4.1%. In the context of what has gone through in the last few months and the concerns you have been raising as judicial officers, especially in the lower courts, what's your reaction to that?
I'll speak specifically to the issue of magistrates. You must understand the 4.1% was supposed to have been done as from the 1st of April last year. So they're almost a year late right now. Another increment is due on the 1st of April 2026. And the Independent Remuneration Commission has not even started. So the magistrates themselves, they currently are so financially strained in terms of just even protecting themselves. It's beyond words, and there's no movement. I cannot give any credit to the president, to the IRC, to any role player. The major review that was promised hasn't even been done. You've seen us on the streets. Everything we've done, all the efforts we've made, we are literally having to take them to court. But why should we do that? And the level of disillusionment in the lower court judiciary in terms of their safety, in terms of their remuneration, in terms of every aspect of their being is not catered for. And right now, we are in literally in a powder keg. The explosion is going to happen. The constitutional crisis is ripe. And watch the space. In the next few days, the court system could literally come to a standstill. There is a likelihood that there is going to be a shutdown because we cannot allow any more of our colleagues, any more magistrates, any more prosecutors, any more role player in this criminal justice system to be killed, attacked. And we expect the community at large to really appreciate that because we cannot move. We are in a state of siege, literally.
All right. On that sobering note, let's leave it there for this morning. Thank you for your time. Nilan Karikan is the president of the Judicial Officers Association of South Africa. Ondelambana is on standby with the latest news.
Thank you. To us on the news headlines, the trial of 6 men accused of killing 18 people in Ngobozana village will continue in the Mthatha High Court special sitting in Lusikisiki in this morning. Former Independent Police Investigative Directorate head Robert McBride will this morning return to testify before Parliament's ad hoc committee. McBride started testifying yesterday, and Snapchat's parent company Snap has settled a social media addiction lawsuit. This comes days before the case was due to go to trial in Los Angeles in the U.S. state of California. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
SAFM guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
It's a real heavy mess getting through Joburg's Buccleuch interchange. There are two collision scenes at the same time, one on the N1 North at Allendale and then one on the N1 South at Rivonia. So it doesn't really matter at all which approach you're on, whether it's the N1 North or South, the N3 North, the Mike 1 North, all of those highways badly backed up trying to get into Buccleuch and then trying to negotiate the queues on your way towards those scenes. The N1's heavy from Randburg, the N3 from Alex. The N1 South from Allendale into Buccleuch and then all the way down to the crash at Rivonia. So it really is a very, very messy side road to be a good call at this stage. Other problems, the N17 coming out of Boksburg to Wadeville, slow into the single lane section. Queues at Spruitview this morning on the N3 North and the N1 North into Deepcliff stays heavy as it has been on the first 2 days of this week. Perhaps not as heavy, but still pretty badly backed up on that run into Deepcliff for connections to Uncle Charlie's. Durban's M7 really heavy today from North Dean going up into St John's Avenue Bridge territory. Komashu Highway, no change there. Very slow from sort of Malindella Road down through Duffs Road through the N2 onto Chris Hardy. Loads of traffic lights offline through there. And a busy run out of Cape Town's Tableview today. Crash on Bloberg and Gee Road holding up towards the refinery. It's a big backlog out of Parklands on Malabong Way coming off Sandown towards the N7. Marine Drive solid from Bayside all the way down to Sunset Beach. And just a reminder, if you're going in the airport or through that area, no traffic lights, Stellenbosch Arterial, Robert Sebukwe 35th. It's a big junction. Delays, all approaches. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
This is SAFM Sport with Zai Khan.
Good morning to you, Zai. It's a problem when the diehard Amakosi fan who sits a couple of meters away from me in studio, Zelma, doesn't know who Kazi is. Who's Kazi?
Yes, Alma, she knows. She already sent me a WhatsApp.
She doesn't know. She says, so I was asking her, did I miss the announcement? Who's Coach Kazi?
Well, it's officially that time of the year again, right? Amakosi fans are daring to dream, and they've got this coach at the moment. He's pretty excited, and he's backing the team to pull off even the title this year. And this is on the back of edging Lamontville Golden Arrows 1-0 at FNB Stadium last night. Aidan McCarthy's first half strike proving decisive as Amakosi showed control and composure to move up to third on the log, just 2 points off the leaders Mamelodi Sundowns. Now, their coach, Cedric Hayes, has explained why midfielder Siphesihle Ndlovu appeared to be substituted only for the decision to be reversed.
Actually, it was an error on the paper because the substitute paper, it was they wrote the name of my boy, but they put the number of Ndlovu. Then which gets a little bit confused, but it was just an error on the paper, but the intention was to take out my boy.
You see, before you proceed, you see, I was even mispronouncing the name, saying Kazi, like as an Altaf Kazi, but actually it's
Kaze.
It's Kaze.
Kaze, whichever. Yeah,
Kaze. Kaizer Chiefs. Anyway,
it rhymes, it works. Yeah. There's something in it, and there's a interesting twist to a lot of the Kaizer Chiefs supporters wanting, this to be their year. But so does Stellenbosch. They've got a new coach. They've kicked off their Betway Premiership campaign. 1-0 was their away win over Sekhukhune United in Limpopo. Debutant Shekofatso Mabasa making an immediate impact, scoring in the 33rd minute, his effort deflecting off Daniel Cardoso to beat Ronaldo Lerner. So wonderful to see that Stellies staying disciplined and composed, securing all 3 points. Let's go to a dramatic night in Champions League. Bodo Glimt stunning Manchester City 3-1 in Norway, handing Pep Guardiola's side one of the biggest shocks in the competition's history. Sporting Lisbon beat the holders Paris Saint-Germain 2-1 with Luis Suarez scoring twice, including a late winner in Lisbon. Arsenal stayed perfect, winning 2-0 away in Italy. Gabriel Jesus on target as the Gunners sealed a top 8 finish and direct qualification to the last 16. Elsewhere, Tottenham beat Borussia Dortmund 2-0, Ajax edged Villarreal 2-1, and Olympiacos down by Leverkusen 2-0. Now, the Spa Proteas head coach Jenny van Dijk believes she has selected a capable 15-player netball squad to take on England in a 3-match test series in Johannesburg.
We are happy with the team that we have selected to represent England. I think there is a lot of opportunity for us to build quite a few different strategies around the combinations and the players selected. So all in all, we are excited to see what they'll bring to the party.
And finally, golf. World-class golf returning to Durban next month with the Durban Open back on the Sunshine Tour. The 6 million rand event runs from the 19th to the 22nd of February at the historic Durban Country Club, and it's forming part of the Hotel Planner Tour South Africa swing and a crucial stop on the road to Mallorca rankings. That's your morning brief sport. We'll bring you back at the top of the hour with more sport. I'm Zaikan.
The Business Update on SAFM.
Hey, Ndaulen, good morning to you once again. We've got a surprise in mining output, and it's not the surprise we want, is it?
Yes, the mining sector losing ground in November, Thulas recording its first production decline since April as logistics issues and weak global conditions took a toll. New data from Stats SA shows mining output fell 2.7%, missing market expectations after strong growth in October. And on a month-on-month basis, production dropped almost 6%. Now, coal and iron ore were the biggest contributors to the decline. Coal output fell by nearly 8%, while iron ore production dropped more than 7%, reflecting ongoing rail and port challenges. Even though there's green shoots at Transnet, many say the turnaround has been slow. The mining companies have also pointed to softer global demand, particularly from exports to China and Europe. At the same time, rising costs continue to weigh on the sector. Electricity prices climbed in November, while water and labor costs also increased. Economists say aging infrastructure, logistical constraints, and higher operating expenses remain major hurdles for local miners, but those operating in gold and platinum are likely to get a bit of a cushion due to the higher prices of those metals.
And there's this rising phenomenon, or perhaps it's making a return, buy
Yes.
now, pay later. You're saying that it doubled, the use thereof doubled in 2025?
You're absolutely right. Really, that service gaining traction here at home. And I'm sure most of us are familiar with the likes of PayFlix and PayJustNow, which are some of the most popular buy now, pay later platforms. According to a new report by digital payments provider PayFast, by network usage of such services, or rather a provider by let me start that again. According to a new report by digital payments provider PayFast, usage of such services doubled between 2024 and 2025. The survey found that BNPL is the most requested new payment method, with 34% of consumers asking merchants to offer it. Card payments remain the most widely used option online, accounting for just over half of transactions. But buy now, pay later increased its share from 3% to 6% year on year. This option, of course, allows customers to spread payments over time while merchants receive full payment up front. Other digital credit tools are also becoming more common, pointing to a growing focus on affordability nationwide. Of course, the BNPL model still faces some concerns, especially when it comes to regulating the system.
The other one, you said it's called PayJustNow.
Yes, PayJustNow.
Just now, as in the South African now. I'll do it now. I'll
Not
pay
really now,
just
but
now.
now.
Yeah, I don't mean now. Now.
Yes.
Just now. The markets, darling. How are we looking?
All right, starting in Asia, while most indexes are in the red due to President Trump's tariff threats, we are starting to see markets in China slightly rebounding, with the Hong Kong Hang Seng and Shanghai Composite trading in the green. That turnaround also seen in US futures, which are trending higher this morning, alluding to the to the negative sentiment somewhat fizzling out. Traders on that front will be assessing Netflix's Q4 earnings and awaiting Trump's address at the World Economic Forum. And then back home, markets getting a boost from higher metal prices, with gold hitting another record high. The all share closed 0.35% in yesterday's trading session. In currencies, the rand remains steady at 16.39 to the dollar, 22 to the pound, and at 19.21 to the euro. Oil trending lower, tracking most equity markets that closed in negative territory overnight. Crude down 0.9% to $62.91 a barrel.
All right, Dowling, thank you for that. One more update from Dowling still to come, and that's coming up just after 8:30, in which update, as she always does, Dowling will cast an eye ahead to give you a sense of the kind of trading day you can expect on this Wednesday.
Welcome to it. This is season 1 of Playlist happening right here at Maloka, and believe me, it's a party.
Set your reminder every Friday, 9 p.m. Playlist at Maloka is in the building.
Get Barter school shoes at Spar for 75 Rand when you spend 350 Rand or more and swipe your rewards card. Buy 1 kg Kellogg's cornflakes for 69.99 plus 150 megs free data on Spar Mobile. Or 100 gram Danone Nutri-Day smooth yogurt, 6-pack, excluding fruit, any two for 32 Rand plus 100 megs free data on Spar Mobile. Price is valid from 20 Jan till 8 Feb while stocks last. Only at Spar. T's and C's apply.
Thulasizwe Simelane on SAFM.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has signed off on pay increases for public office bearers, a decision that's already stirring debate about priorities and affordability. From the 1st of April, salaries will rise by 4.1% for judges, magistrates, traditional leaders, and members of independent constitutional institutions, while politicians, including cabinet ministers, MPs, and provincial executives, will receive a 3.8% increase. The presidency says the split reflects careful consideration of inflation, fiscal pressure, and the Independent Commission's assessment of roles and responsibilities across officers. Across offices. Let's speak to SAFTU General Secretary Zwelinze Mavavi, one of the many players that are responding to this announcement. Good morning to you, and thank you for your time. Why is this increase tone deaf, as has been it has been cast in much of the commentary, certainly from the labor movement?
Well, we are outraged because of the situation that the broader working class is facing. Firstly, good morning to you, Mguni, and Happy New Year, by the way, to all of you.
Happy New Year to you as well, yeah.
We are outraged because we believe that this statement is insensitive to the plight workers are facing in the economy. Our economy now have between 5 and 6 million workers who are being paid below the national minimum wage. Despite this being the law, government is doing very little to ensure that the companies comply, because a compliance to that at least paying over 5,000 minimum wage will at least capture more workers and to live at least just above the poverty line. The food basket in South Africa today costs up to 5,000 or about 5,400 rands, meaning that those workers, many of them earning 3,000 rands up to 5,000 rand, cannot afford to put a plate of food on top of their tables every evening. They form part of the 20 million South Africans who are facing poverty and who are forced to skip a meal a day because they cannot afford to do so. If we were to look at the standards the government is preaching, they normally say, combined with the capitalist leaders in South Africa, that workers must not only accept inflation-related increases, but they must also link their salaries to productivity. Now let's look at the productivity of the current political leadership of South Africa. They have driven our economy to stagnation. We're growing at below 0% or at best 0.1, 0.6%, hardly 1% every year. They've driven the economy to the point now where we have almost 43% of our people unemployed. If you were to look at between black and white, the unemployment amongst black people is around 46%, whereas amongst white population is 6%, comparable to the economies of nations. If you look at unemployment amongst black women, it's hovering at 49%, it stands above 50%. Youth unemployment at 64%. This is their scorecard. Poverty deepening as a result. We have now become, excuse me for that, we've become the most unequal society in the entire world. The infrastructure is collapsing. The roads are not safe, full of potholes. The hospitals are not in the best of state. Hospitals lack infrastructure and the numbers required of doctors and nurses. The levels of criminality and the near collapse of the criminal justice system produces the worst results, now convicting only 15% of the people accused of murder and about 8-9% of the people accused of raping. Now, in a country that is finding itself in that situation, with police stations with no infrastructure, no van, overloaded, overcrowded correctional services centers that simply reproduce the worst kinds of criminals than those that were convicted in the initial stages. Those people, the political leadership, simply do not deserve actually any increase. That they now rewarding themselves a 3.8%, which will amount to 133,000 rands per year for the president, is ridiculous.
I take it then you don't take issue with the 4.1% increase for categories such as judges, magistrates, traditional leaders, and members of independent constitutional institutions.
No, I was listening to an interview with the chairperson of the magistrates, and my heart just bled because it vindicates what Safti is saying in his statement, that the magistrates deserve that 4.1% or even more if you look at their own precarious situation they are facing. High levels of vacancies, collapsing infrastructure in our courts, overloaded magistrates and junior judges, and it's an untenable situation that they are facing. They were forced to go out in the streets to Toy in Durban and other parts of South Africa. Now criminals kill their victims right inside our magistrates' courts. No magistrate is safe. I had a family member telling me how she survived every time in Mitchell's Plain court with the gangs taking their fights right inside their offices. It's an untenable situation. So they deserve 4.1%. I wish that they could have gotten more from the president and the ministers, premiers, and deputy ministers' salaries, because you don't have to look at the salaries of the president and his cabinet from the point of the salaries again. Consider that they have something they call the ministerial handbook, which allows them even greater levels of benefits. Luxury state-funded vehicles, fully maintained, ensured and replaced regularly. Official residence in Cape Town and in Pretoria. Extensive state-funded travel for official duties, which benefits them personally at their family levels. Top-tier private healthcare largely funded by the state, full-time VIP protection, including armed bodyguards at home, whilst our people are facing the marauding gangs of no particular origins every night in their homes.
All right. Thank you for that. On that powerful note, Thulasizwe Simelane, General Secretary of the South African Federation of Trade Unions, SAFTU. That allusion to marauding gangs of no particular origin has its origins in Hugh Masekela's song, Stimela. Thulasizwe Simelane using it to make the point that he's making about the plight of ordinary South Africans versus the plight of politicians.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Still very heavy in northern parts of Joburg with a crash on the M1 South at Rivonia this morning. That is badly backing up traffic. Behind that on the N3 coming up from Edenvale. There is traffic all the way through up to Buccleuch and then down to Rivonia. The N1 South queues as far back almost to New Road this morning. That run into Buccleuch coming through Midrand to get onto that N1 South towards Rivonia is heavy. And an earlier crash on the M1 North at Allendale. Still backlogging traffic coming up from Randburg on the M1 into Buccleuch for a turn up to Midrand. It's a very busy set of highways out through that Buccleuch interchange this morning. R21 south towards the airport, a crash at Atlas Road causing delays. The Mike 1 from Boyson's all the way through to Santon is fairly heavy. And if you're leaving Soweto, crash on the M1 northbound before Maresburg, backlogging traffic towards Soweto Highway exit. That's very heavy as well. Durban, the M7 into Pinetown, all backed up from the N3 highway going up over St John's Avenue Bridge. Very slow getting through there. Also the N2 from the M7 through Westwood Mall. That's fairly heavy. And a lot of traffic on the M4, both directions between Blue Lagoon and Umhlanga. Cape Town, traffic lights are out. 35th Avenue, Robert Sobukwe, top of the airport. That's all very heavy. R300 M7 out of Mitchell's Plain. No traffic lights there. And a collision scene on Baden-Powell Drive near Jafta and Masamola at Khayelitsha. So quite heavy if you're Muizenberg bound or Stellenbosch bound. Big backlogs in that area this morning along Baden-Powell. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
Fly Safa has been named the most on-time airline in Africa and the Middle East by Cirium, world leader in aviation analytics. That's 3 years in a row we've been recognized for reliably getting you to the places and faces you love. But reliability doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from care, consistency, and a commitment to service excellence. Because getting you there on time isn't just what we promise, it's what we do. Fly Safa, for the love of flying.
SABC2 is stepping into a new era, Papa, where every moment tells a story. A new era of conversations with Eintlik Let's Connect at 4:30 p.m, bringing real talk and South African voices. A new era of Afrikaans news at 6:30 p.m, trusted information in the language you love. A new era of family entertainment, Omar Sari at 7 p.m, celebrating humor, tradition and togetherness. A new era of excitement in a new time slot, Deal or No Deal at 7:30 p.m, bringing primetime thrills home. A new era of drama, Pimville at 9 p.m, a brand new powerful telenovela from Soweto that grips the heart. And a new era of flavor with a new season of Color Your Plate with Koo, Sundays at 7 p.m. A new era begins on SABC2.
In a world of noise, one thing is still clear. Akwele. Introducing the new, still flavored range from Akwele. Lemon mint, mango passion fruit, blueberry raspberry, peach apricot. Still made from Akwele's 100% natural spring water. Delicious, high in vitamins, low in kilojoules, and still full of joy. It's new, it's refreshing, it's flavored, it's still Akwele.
You are listening to the Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane.
All right, so while public finances and the fiscus are under the spotlight in the wake of the conversation we had a couple of minutes ago with Thulasizwe Simelane about the increases that public office bearers will be getting, let's bring back a conversation that continues to bubble under the surface even when we are not focusing on it. The Junior Doctors Committee of the South African Medical Association Trade Union, SAMATU, has expressed what it says is profound frustration and concern over the persistent and unacceptable unemployment of doctors who have completed their community service. Samatu says this crisis, which has endured for several years, is a direct result of what it says is sustained negligence by the Department of Health, despite repeated engagements and proposed solutions by Samatu. Let's speak to Dr. Tozama Bosman, who is the Secretary of the South African Medical Association Trade Union, Samatu Junior Doctors Committee. Good morning to you, Doc, and thank you for your time. Last year, it took the Finance Minister and others 3 attempts at passing a budget, eventually getting it right on the 3rd attempt around May. In that budget, we were told that 20.8 billion rand over the medium term would be dedicated to the health sector, in particular for the employment of doctors as well as other needs. Has anything shifted from that point when that conversation was being had, with the result that you are starting to see more and more doctors being employed?
Good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about this issue, which is causing great frustration, truly. So from what we know as the Samatu Junior Doctors Association, we can confirm that the only province that covered this, covered their number of contracts that they were given, is Mpumalanga. We cannot confirm with the 8 other provinces that they have indeed covered their budget. So right now we are sure that there's more than 1,000 doctors who are currently unemployed post community service. So no, they actually have not covered their budgets, unfortunately.
Is it a factor of the rate at which new doctors are entering the ranks of those doctors who've finished their community service, and therefore the rate of absorption being lower than the rate at which new doctors are being introduced into the system, such that it's going to take extraordinary effort to deal with that situation?
So from what we understand, I do not want to give the Department of Health that pass. Some of the medical doctors who have finished their community service are known to the Department of Health. I mean, they're bursary holders. They've gone to South African universities. They've gone to universities overseas to do their medical school. So they have come here, and the Department of Health is aware of the numbers. So I don't want them to feign ignorance about the fact. I am aware that there has been an increase in the production of doctors, but I truly believe that the National Department of Health should have prepared themselves for this. They're aware of the numbers every year, and every year we cannot have such frustration as if to say that they are not aware. They are definitely aware of the numbers that are coming out.
How does this capacity that we have of doctors who've done and completed their community service and therefore are system ready, how does it compare with what is expected of doctors already in the system, the working hours, the demands of the system as a whole?
We were actually complaining about this a few days ago. I am definitely sure that we do need more doctors in the system. There are doctors who are over pushing themselves over hours that they're not even compensated for. Most of the doctors in South Africa are compensated for maximum 80 hours overtime, yet they sometimes are doing more than 100 hours overtime a month. So we truly believe that hiring more doctors would actually relieve the pressure of the current doctors who are currently in the system, would make the system better, would decrease the doctor to patient ratio that is needed in South Africa. So it is truly a need for us to hire more doctors currently now as we speak.
Is there anything that is happening, Doc, at the moment that resembles a serious effort to finally address this issue? Are there any engagements happening at the highest levels between yourselves, government, and other role players? And if so, how optimistic are you that we'll start seeing some forward movement in the coming months and years?
So today we are lucky that we actually do have an appointment with the Minister of Health. It will be happening at 12 o'clock. Look, at all times we have to be optimistic. At all times we have to be hopeful. So we're hopeful that the discussion will be productive. But we are definitely having a meeting. So this is Samatu, the national office bearers, as well as the Junior Doctors Association committee members. They will be having a meeting with the minister today. So we're hoping and we're praying that everything will be productive as it goes. If it's not productive, then we will go forward as a union to see how we can actually bring this forth to the community so that they're aware of the problems that are happening in the country.
All right, let's leave it there for this morning. Thank you for your time, Dr. Tozama Bosman, the Secretary of the South African Medical Association Trade Union, SAMATU, Junior Doctors Committee. Let's go to Ondela Mbana on standby with the latest news.
Outsurance is in the business of saving you money on your car insurance premium. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754.
Thank you, Tulas. On the top story, trial of man accused of killing 18 people in the Eastern Cape continues this morning, and MKP accuses the ANC of misusing public funds. For SAFM News, I am Ondela, and a very good morning. The trial of 6 men accused of killing 18 people in Ngobozana village will continue in the Mthatha High Court, sitting in Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape this morning. A legal representative for one of the accused, Apiwe Ndende, will cross-examine a witness, Lwando Abi. Mawande Nokwali cast out on Abi's testimony, focusing on the 2 statements he made to police on the 2023 mass killings. Fundiswa Mhlekude reports.
According to Nokwali, Abi said in his evidence in chief that accused number 2 stayed in Mount Frey when in actual fact he stayed in Mount Alief. Abi told the court that he knows very well that Ndende stayed in Mount Frey, which is now KwaBhaca, because he's the one who looked for a place for him and other co-accused to stay. He further stated that the accused left KwaBhaca on instruction of accused number 1, Mzukisi Ndamase, the alleged mastermind in the Ngobozana massacre after the killing of ANC politician Mncedisi Gijana. Fundiswa Mhlekude, SABC News, Lusikisiki.
Former Independent Police Investigative Directorate head Robert McBride will this morning return to testify before Parliament's ad hoc committee. McBride started testifying yesterday. His testimony follows testimonies of previous witnesses, including KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, suspended Police Ministry Chief of Staff Cedric Ngabinde, and fired former Acting Deputy Police Commissioner Khumbudzo Phahlane. Mkhokheli Bandla reports on the serious allegations McBride has made so far.
On his first day, the former IPD head told MPs that crime intelligence operatives attempted to recruit investigators working on sensitive corruption cases, including the probe into former acting police commissioner Khumbudzo Phahlane. He also linked those allegations to the murder of senior IPD investigator Mandla Mahlangu after he made a sworn statement. MPs are expected to press McBride further on allegations of infiltration, interference and national security risks. Mkhokheli Bandla, SABC News, Parliament.
The Umkhonto party has taken the ANC to Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts, SCOPA, accusing it of misusing public funds. The MK party is referring to the money that the ANC spent on its January 8th statement rally to celebrate the 114th anniversary in the Northwest earlier this month. The MK party has called for an urgent investigation. The party's MP is Gwenza Madlala.
A call for an investigation seek to promote transparency and openness on the side of the government. However, it is true that there was an event that was purported to be a Heritage Day. However, it characterized itself in terms of the branding and all of the messaging that was there as an ANC event. Now remember, when we then call for an investigation, we are saying that the municipality must then be able to provide such records to us and provide transparency in terms of cleaning itself if it suggests that this was not funded by the municipality or by the Free State government.
President Cyril Ramaphosa will today deliver the keynote address at the basic education sector Lekgotla in Boksburg, east of Johannesburg. The 3-day annual meeting brings together senior education officials, including those from provinces, as well as policy makers and sector experts. They will discuss early childhood development, strengthening literacy and numeracy, enhancing teacher training, as well as safety in schools. Snapchat's parent company Snap has settled a social media addiction lawsuit. This comes days before the case was due to go to trial in Los Angeles in the U.S. state of California. The BBC's Lily Jamali reports.
The plaintiff is a 19-year-old woman identified by the initials KGM. She alleged that the algorithmic design of the platforms left her addicted and affected her mental health. The settlement means that Snap CEO Evan Spiegel is no longer expected to testify at a trial which is still set to start next week. KGM had also sued TikTok, Alphabet's YouTube, and Instagram parent Meta, whose boss Mark Zuckerberg is set to give evidence unless his company settles too.
Recapping the top story, the trial of 6 men accused of killing 18 people in Ngobozana village will continue in the Mthatha High Court sitting in Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape this morning. I am Ondilambana for SFM News Headlines at 8:30.
Outsurance will go out of their way to try and save you money on your car insurance. If they can't, ask for 500 Rand. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. You won't believe how much money Outsurance saves 40-year-old Rafiq on his car insurance.
I saved so much money. 899. That's not small change. That's more than 50% that I saved from my previous insurer.
That's an impressive saving on Rafiq's 2017 Nissan Navara 4x4. And after 3 claim-free years, he gets an out bonus. How much money could Outsurance save you? SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Licensed insuring FSP. TCs and information online.
A very good morning to you in your SFM Sports Headlines. Soccer action with Kaizer Chiefs and Mamelodi Sundowns turning up the heat in the title race. Pressure now on Orlando Pirates. And we go down under for tennis action. And it's the huge top seed upsets as they crash out. And Novak Djokovic firing accusations. We'll find out more just before 8:30.
SAFM. Guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. Still very heavy on the M1 South in Joburg on the run down to Rivonia Road. It's a crash that happened earlier this morning. Traffic's all backed up all the way down to Edenvale on the N3. So from sort of Linksfield Road, it's traffic all the way to Buccleuch and then down to Rivonia Road. The N1 South from Allendale backs heavily into Buccleuch for connections on to that N1 South. And there's quite a bit of onlooking going on the M1 North. So Randburg up to Buccleuch, quite heavy as well. A lot of traffic on the Mike 1 this morning from Boysons all the way through to Grayston Drive. Crash coming out of Soweto on the N1 North near Maresburg Road or near Albertina Sisulu Road. So in the Maresburg area, the N1 leaving Soweto is really stuck in a big backlog through there. Durban, the N2 North still heavy getting up to Westwood Mall. The M4 between Umhlanga and Blue Lagoon is heavy both ways around Virginia Airport territory. At Cape Town, roadworks back on the N7 South at Voortrekker Road. Heavy congestion if you're on that section of the N7 going south. Plenty of traffic on the N1 this morning from fell through the city centre. A crash on Bloberg and Gee causing delays coming out of Tableview, and a smash on Baden-Powell at Jafta Cape Masemola causing some big heavy traffic along Baden-Powell in that Khayelitsha area. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
9 minutes after 8. Good morning and welcome to it, the third hour of the Morning Brief on this Wednesday. It is absolutely great to be in your company this morning. Let me read a few of your messages before we get into the third hour of the show. Someone here is talking about the incident and the crash that led to the death of those children out in Vanderbijl Park. And this person says the Department of Education should stop the tendering system on scholar transport, but start allocating buses and drivers fully employed by the department across the country, circuit by circuit. That will prevent overloading and speeding. They will be dedicated to that service only, says someone there. There are a few messages also that are coming through that have to do with the situation around illegal miners, the so-called Zamazamas. For instance, Brian Mabaye in Protea Clan is asking us to check on what is happening at Randgate Community Hall in Randfontein, and says it seems something big is happening, sheltering of people and people fear threats of zamazamas again, says Brian Mabaye. So definitely something for our newsroom to check out what exactly is happening around zamazamas in the area of Randfontein. Zamazamas again on the mind of AB, who then says the issue of zamazamas is concerning. Countries that are at war and whether fighting terrorist organizations like Boko Haram, ISIS, started off like this. If police could not have ammunition to fight these guys to such an extent that they move residents out of their places, it is sad. What is stopping them from taking over Sandton? In fact, Joburg CBD has been taken by criminal elements. We are fighting fire with theories while criminals are brazen and have no regard for the rule of law. In any country outside South Africa, none of this could happen, says AB there. Then let me read one as well that's almost along the same vein, just grappling with the multiple crises that we are dealing with, especially around lawlessness in the country. This person says, the common thread in all the incidents, scholar transport, madlanga, shootings, is humanity. No amount of punishment, which by the way comes after the protection given to whoever, including prosecutors, is not dealing with the root cause. We as people have lost our identity. Self is more than anything in all that we do. So I guess self-respect is more important in everything that we do, says that person there. So let's keep the conversation going. The number to dial 086 000 2032. Your WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107. This is SAFM. Let's get into it. The third hour of the morning brief.
Outsurance is saving 27-year-old Liam big bucks on his car insurance.
Saving so much every month, around 640 Rand.
That's an awesome 640 Rand saving on Liam's 2024 Ranger. And after 3 claim-free years, he gets an out bonus.
Definitely getting a lot out.
Get a quote now and see how much money Outsurance could save you. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
Babila Noko want to rubber stamp that kumnandi in the top half, while Ezimnyama Ngenkani are highly spirited to make this their season to shine. This is the Betway Premiership. Nisekazini forever. Catch Skukune United versus Orlando Pirates on Saturday, 24 January at 2:30 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Then on SABC radio stations at 3:30 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Eskom customers, change is here. Eskom is upgrading old electricity meters with modern smart meters, giving you clarity, control, and confidence. With your new meter, you'll be able to see your usage in real time, giving you the power to manage your electricity with ease. Smart meters are accurate and help Eskom respond faster to issues. Please allow our authorized installers access to install your new meter. For more information, visit Eskom's website, that is Eskom, redefining for a better future.
The only talk radio morning breakfast show that makes sense. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane.
So this next conversation is brought to you by Vodacom Business. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Visit vodacombusiness.co.za. It is a conversation with Mncedisi Mayegiso, a direct sales managing executive at Vodacom Business. And we are exploring how Vodacom Business is driving purpose-led digital transformation across the country's enterprise landscape. And we'll also unpack Vodacom Business's evolution from what they call a telco to a tech co. Its strategic focus on emerging technologies such as AI, cloud, edge computing, IoT, that is the Internet of Things, and cybersecurity, and its commitment to co-creating impactful solutions with clients. It's a mouthful, but through Mncedisi Mayegiso's insights, hopefully we can highlight how digital transformation can unlock economic growth, enhance operational efficiency, and promote digital inclusion for business and communities. Let's speak then to Mncedisi Mayege. So Mncedisi, good morning and thank you for your time this morning. I said it's a mouthful what I was describing there, but I'm quite confident that you'll be able to unpack. For instance, let's start with this. How has Vodacom Business's vision for digital transformation evolved recently, and what has driven that evolution?
Yeah, good morning to you and your listeners. Thank you for having us. Yeah, absolutely. So Vodacom Business, our evolution, we're probably known in the market. Our evolution is long in the making. We're probably known for, connectivity and mobile solutions, but we are now a more complete technology company that covers, connectivity, mobile solutions, the Internet of Things, AI, cybersecurity, the lot. In fact, we have the most, in my view, we've got the most complete, set of technology offerings to help customers across industries, and sectors. For example, we're already, over 25 educational institutions, because it's early in the year, so it's quite topical. They're trusting us, with technology, our technology solutions to help them, run the institutions. So we've evolved, over time, Thulas, precisely because customers are looking for more integrated solutions, if you like, from cradle to grave.
Yeah. Say a bit more about that, because I was going to ask, we use terms like you've moved from being a telco to a techco. And as you say, that's in response to what the need is. What are these needs that we are talking about in the business sector, in the enterprise, small, medium, large enterprises, that has driven your evolution?
So for example, Tula, so the needs are many. So for example, if you are a retailer, for example, right, you need real-time data on spend patterns, what products are sought after by your customers, and then you take that information, you use that for your logistics, and you use that for your purchasing decisions. So we see more and more of this, these needs that it's no longer, people aren't prepared to wait. So everything happens in the real time, right? If you look at cybersecurity, Thulas, we've got a lot of issues with with scammers, and a lot of people trying to get into your personal data. All of our systems, we've got robust technologies. We have data centers where we store scores and scores of terabytes and terabytes of data to make sure that we secure this information. You can access it anytime. Most businesses are run 24/7 now anyway, Tula. So we see these needs, depending on what industry is. If you look into the mining industry, for example, technology is helping the Vodacom business. We're helping mines to move coal, coal automation really from pit to port, if you know what I mean. And we are able to track exactly where that coal is sitting at any one point in time. So these are just some of the examples, Thulas, that I just wanted to highlight.
So different industries have different needs, and different enterprises also have different needs. But in all of this now, I understand you've put together an extraordinary advisory board. What's their role in all of this?
Yeah, absolutely. So our approach to technology innovation is purpose-led, Thulas. So we're not just taking an internal view out. We also want to take an external view in. So the role of this advisory board is really to give us insights on, and you remember these experts are experts in business, in technology. They give us insight and guidance and thought leadership on some of the emerging trends that are shaping, the future of business and technology. So, and we've chosen them very carefully. They help us shape some of our products, and how we take these to market. And also these experts are available to give advice, and to work with us, as we take some of these, of these solutions to market.
Yeah, but let us say the technology is ever changing, right? There's always something new. Which key technologies right now are you focusing on that are central to your business to business solutions, and how do they enable business modernization?
Thulas, the cloud technologies are forever evolving, right? More and more our customers are moving most of the from on-premise solutions to the cloud. What this does, this enables more efficiency, more security, and it just means that again, you can trust your data to be secure and authenticated, over time. Now, why is cloud one of the big technologies? Is because there's an explosion of data, Thulas. Already the device, your handheld device that's in your hand now, has more data than a mainframe many years ago used to have. So there's an explosion of data all over the place. Now, cloud enables this ability to store this data efficiently and effectively, right? Now, we will see more, as I said, we'll see more and more, more customers going this route. The other technology that we are, busy focusing and investing on actively, Thulas, is AI, right? AI is fast becoming, one of these technologies that are going to be a game changer for us. For example, AI, for example, is helping us, even us internally, where, for example, we can predict fraud before it happens. We can see, patterns of, unusual, things happening, whether it's on our network or people trying to do funny things. So you will see more and more of this, IoT. So literally, Thulas, I think from a digital transformation, you need all of these technologies integrated together, and Vodacom Business is best suited to be able to make sense of all of this, for customers, whether you're a small business or you're a large enterprise.
All right, let's leave it there for this morning. Thank you for those insights. That's Mncedisi Mayegiso, Direct Sales Managing Executive at Vodacom Business. And that conversation was brought to you and sponsored by Vodacom Business. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Visit vodacombusiness.co.za.
SABC2 is stepping into a new era, Papa, where every moment tells a story. A new era of conversations with Eintlik Let's Connect at 4:30 p.m, bringing real talk and South African voices. A new era of Afrikaans news at 6:30 p.m, trusted information in the language you love. A new era of family entertainment, Omar Sari at 7 p.m, celebrating humor, tradition and togetherness. A new era of excitement in a new time slot, Deal or No Deal at 7:30 p.m, bringing primetime thrills home. A new era of drama, Pimville at 9 p.m, a brand new powerful telenovela from Soweto that grips the heart, and a new era of flavor with a new season of Color Your Plate with Koo, Sundays at 7 p.m. A new era begins on SABC2.
Call Thulasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
All right, let me go to your calls and WhatsApp voice notes. In fact, I want to start with Dumisang out in Rustenburg. Good morning to you, Dumisang.
Morning, my brother. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
I'm fine. My brother, there's something that is really, this is taking our justice department down to the drain. The way the judge is behaving, telling the defense that you can appeal. All my appeals take 12 years to 15 years. What impression is he giving to the defense?
Which judge is this, Dumisang? I missed it.
Judge Mokhatleng.
Oh, in the sense of Mayiwa trial. Oof.
In the sense of Mayiwa. The judges, I wonder what the JC, what are they saying about this old man who's behaving so
What did he say? Repeat that again. What did he say?
He said, all my appeals, when you appeal, my appeals always take 15 to 12 years. before approval. What impression is he giving to the defense? And why is so biased to the defense? Because so we already see that it's colliding with the state. All the clips from the podcasters and everything. And I'm wishing that all the podcast guys, they must take all those clips of the whole trial when the judge was there. They must take it to the Matlanga. And ask the Matlanga, is it a judge the way he's supposed to behave? We've been having a judge, Erasmus, in Cape Town. That judge is 100%. Very neutral, very understanding. This judge is rude to the defense. This judge, I'm saying this because I always see this case. I'm sitting here on my own pension.
So you watch the case every day? Yeah.
I'm working from A to Z since I've been in pension 3 years back. You understand?
Yeah.
The behavior of this judge is killing me, guys. What about the kids who are doing wrong, who are going to listen to this guy and this old man?
Yeah. All right, Dumisang, thank you for that.
And secondly, I want to raise this issue. You remember the witnesses in the box in this moment, Kwabeni. He was shoot. The whole media was quiet. It was only the podcast guys who are busy with it in TikTok and everything. The whole media, South African media, was always quiet. This guy was shoot on December. No one ever raised it.
All right, Dumisang,
thank you. I think our media must be independent. Our media must not be captured by these people. They must always raise the issues when they debating about the issues of the church. They must put it on. They must be neutral. Then we can be happy.
Yeah. Dumisang, thank you for
it.
Thank
South Africa, let's stand up for this judge. I don't say these guys are guilty or are innocent, but let's stand for the justice.
Yeah, justice must be done, and it must not just be done, but it also must be seen to be done. Dumisang, thank you for that. I must just out and out say it, I've battled to keep track with the Senzo Meyiwa trial. It's just been one of those that has been ongoing for so long, with so many detours, so much happening in that courtroom, so much that perhaps requires reflection, and I've got to be careful here, requires reflection of multiple role players about their role in how that trial is perceived. Full stop. This is where Thulasizwe will stop. But yeah, so much reflection is needed about the role of many role players, about how that case is showcasing the South African justice system. All right, I'm happy to leave it there before I talk myself into a spot of bother as a future officer of the court.
This is SAFM Sport with Zai Khan.
Hey Zai, good morning to you. Title pressure is mounting for both Pirates and Chiefs and Sundowns as well, yeah?
You're right, and it's the role players who are in football as well. So we've got them wanting to win titles. They are front runners at the moment. One of them being Mamelodi Sundowns. They had a win 2-1 against Magesi on Monday. Chiefs following suit last night. Aidan McCarthy's first half strike enough to edge Golden Arrows 1-0 at a chilly FNB Stadium, lifting Amakosi into third, just 1 point behind Orlando Pirates. Now, while the Buccaneers still have 2 games in hand, anything less than a win against Sekhukhune United this weekend could swing the momentum firmly in their rivals' way, with Chiefs, Sundowns and Sekhukhune all circling the pressure very much on Pirates. Let's go now to rugby. The informed Stormers loose forward Paul de Villiers says he wants to be recognised as more than just a breakdown threat, insisting his ambition is to add value across all facets of the game. Attention now turns back to the United Rugby Championship, with the Stormers preparing for the high-profile local derby against the Sharks at Cape Town Stadium.
I would like for people to see me as a kind of an all-round player. I know the breakdown, attacking and defending is obviously a huge part of my game, and the role of the number 6, but I like to have the ball in hand, and I also like to contribute at different levels in the match. May that be on defense, may that be on kick chase, and also attacking and linking up with the backs.
On to netball, and Spa Proteas head coach Jenny van Dijk believes she has selected a capable 15-player squad to take on England And this is in a 3-match test series in Johannesburg. The Proteas are fresh from retaining their Africa Cup championships in Lilongwe, Malawi.
Yes, definitely excited to be back at Ellis Park. This is where we started our journey as new coaches. So it's fantastic to be back here and just fantastic to play in front of our home crowd. The expectation is hopefully that everybody will come in and that we can fill the stadium, have a great, good South African vibe and just come out to support our players. For us, it's about being competitive and playing an excellent game of netball. In order for us to grind and get to that win.
And finally, tennis, the Australian Open taking shape in Melbourne. Defending champion Novak Djokovic is safely through to the second round, but couldn't resist a bit of theatre, accusing Carlos Alcaraz of borrowing his serve and demanding a cut of the prize money for every ace. The world number one Yannick Sinner also advanced after his opponent Hugo Gaston retired, while Stefano Tsitsipas, Naomi Osaka, Madison Keys and Elena Rybakina are all into the next round. There are also notable exit. Britain's Emma Raducanu is out, beaten in straight sets by Anastasia Potapova, while Katie Bolter, Sonia Catal, Leila Fernandez and the teenage sensation João Fonseca have all been sent packing. That's your morning brief. Sport will bring you more around 12:30 with John Hediker. I'm Zai Khan.
On the news headlines, suspects in the theft of $580,000 at President Cyril Ramaphosa's Palapala farm in Bilabila are expected to be back in the Modimolle Magistrate Court in Limpopo today. The trial of 6 men accused of killing 18 people in Ngobozana village will continue in the Mthatha High Court sitting in Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape this morning. And the City of Cape Town says disaster risk management teams are on standby to coordinate recovery efforts in the Masiphumelele informal settlement. Update at the top of the hour.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. It's been a heavy Wednesday for Joburg motorists, and it's going to continue for a while. There's just been a collision on the N3 North past Modderfontein. That's a new one. Then the N3 stays heavy all the way past that scene, so from Edenvale into the crash, and then it stays heavy all the way to Buccleuch, and then down on the M1 to Ravonia Road due to an earlier crash at Ravonia. Now, the N1 South is badly backed up as well because of a stationary vehicle at Allendale, plus queues trying to get through Buccleuch and onto the M1 to Ravonia. So N1 South this morning queuing heavily from around about Olifantsfontein is where you'll feel the pressure. The Mike 1 very slow from Boysons up into around Empire Road territory. M2 from Benrose coming into the Crown stays heavy as well. Durban, the N2 northbound through Spaghetti Junction on your way to Umgena Road is eased up nicely. That's flowing. The M4 between Umhlanga and Durban also flowing again this morning. Don't forget the N3 closure today, 3 until 3:30, a full 30-minute road closure between New England and Ashburton, day 2 of a 3-day closure program there. And Cape Town, a collision N2 out of town at Muway in front of Khayelitsha. A crash at the bottom of Khayelitsha on Baden Powell Drive, causing delays between Jafta Masemola and the N2 highway. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The business update on SAFM.
And for that, we turn one more time to Ndauling Lichela. Ndauling, good morning. Let's start in the retail space. Tell me about shareholders at Mr. Price and what they've had to say about the retailer's deal to acquire another retailer in Europe.
Yeah, Thulas, shareholders aren't happy at all, and this has been reflected in the company's share price. The group announced this deal in December, and that share price has really been tanking over the past 2 months. A shareholder in the company has now asked the JSE to step in over the retailer's proposed 9.7 billion rand acquisition of European discount chain NKD. In a MoneyWeb article, Benwela Global Fund Managers wrote a letter, and they argue that the deal should not be assessed in isolation, but combined with a series of acquisitions Mr. Price has made since 2021. Benwela says these transactions form part of a single expansion strategy that has significantly changed the group's risk profile and business focus. Under JSE rules, related deals of this scale should be treated as a Category 1 transaction, which would require shareholder approval. Now, Benguela has asked the JSE to require a formal shareholder vote and to pause the NKD deal while the matter is reviewed. Mr. Price, of course, announcing that acquisition last month, after which its share price fell nearly 10%, reflecting investor concerns around that acquisition.
And Pepco is pushing ahead with its acquisition drive, yeah?
Yeah, despite, the issues it's been facing with trying to acquire ShopRite's furniture business, with Lewis also intervening there, Pepco says it is not slowing its acquisition drive, but has acknowledged that stitching together a growing list of businesses is becoming more complex and risk-heavy. The group says the benefits of scale will only materialize if new acquisitions are integrated smoothly, warning that delays of poor execution could weigh on earnings. Once known mainly for discount clothing, Pepco now operates across retail, logistics, online platforms, financial services, insurance, mobile connectivity, and banking. Management says this expanded model creates opportunities to boost efficiency and profits, but also raises the risk of operational strain. Over the past year, Pepco has added several retail chains and expanded its fintech operations, while some deals remain subject to regulatory approval. The group says it is prioritizing disciplined execution, strong oversight, and clear performance targets to ensure acquisitions deliver value as competition and cost pressures intensify across value retail and digital services. I mean, just last year, the group closed off that deal to buy the retailers from Edcon, including Legit. It also mentioned that it will be launching a bank.
So trading set to resume at the JSE in no time. What kind of a day are we in for on this Wednesday?
So the JSE is in for a mixed open, balancing those tariff risks while also benefiting from a flight for safety, which did see gold hit another record high. It's a busy day on the economic front with inflation and retail sales data out later. Ahead of those prints, the rand remains range bound. It's at 16.39 to the greenback, just above 22 against the British pound, and 19.21 to the euro. Moving over to commodities, oil trending lower this morning at $62.91 a barrel. Sentiment remains cautious amid expectations that the International Energy Agency's monthly oil market report will point to a major supply glut. And then back to equities, stateside futures turning green this morning, but volatility remains amid those US-EU tensions. We're going to hear from President Trump at the World Economic Forum later today, so traders keeping a close eye on that. Investors in Asia also being affected by those trade concerns, with stocks on that front trading mixed.
All right, Ndauling, thank you for today. That's Ndauling Lechela, having kept you updated on business, economics, and the markets. She'll do the same tomorrow, throughout the morning tomorrow.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Welcome to it. This is season 1 of Playlist happening right here at Maloka, and believe me, it's a party.
Set your reminder every Friday, 9 p.m. Playlist at Maloka is in the building.
Thulasizwe Simelane is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
21 minutes to 9. While staying on the economic theme, right, off the back of Ndauling's last update of the morning, the Franchising Association of South Africa will be hosting it's called FASA, the FASA Conference and Expo 2026, and that will be happening on the 19th of February. It's an important conversation, important in the sense that we are told that franchising has officially become one of the country's most powerful economic engines, now contributing some 15% to national GDP and supporting nearly 500,000 direct jobs. As the country grapples with unemployment and inclusive growth, the Franchise Association of South Africa says franchising is delivering real, scalable solutions. So let's speak now to FASA CEO Freddie Makato, who is leading the charge on inclusive franchising, a model that is set to empower women and youth entrepreneurs across urban and township economies. Freddie, good morning and thank you for your time. We'll talk about inclusive franchising in a moment, but broadly, the landscape of franchising in the country. I've got a friend, only one person in my life, believe it or not, that I know who has gotten into franchising, and their experience was not great. It was many, many years ago. But what is the overall landscape in terms of what franchising is enabling South Africans to do by way of economic activity and involvement?
Hello, Caesar. Thank you. Let me call the entire name because Caesar sounds more like a touch shop.
No, it all works. It all works.
Okay.
Some people do call me Caesar, so it's all good.
Yes. I think it is important and unfortunate that your friend or the person you know went through difficult times, but that's the reality of being in business. It's risky. Then where we are now, I think we have to understand and appreciate that for the longest time we have this business model that wasn't exposed to everybody and anybody. I mean, if the association was established in 1979, that tells you a story. But I think we are at a stage where we have now spent over 14 sectors in the country. And that is massive. So I think for us is to appreciate the contribution that the franchising business model is doing. And we have to take the baton and run with it.
So what are the factors that are driving growth in the franchising sector such that we're now talking about it contributing some 15% of national GDP?
One, you have the greatest support from the franchisor. Remember, the franchisor is the person or the entity that started the system. They've worked on the product, they've worked on the supply chain, they've worked on the systems over a number of years before they start to franchise. So that only is a groundbreaking foundation for a business. Two, you have proven formula that is working. That if you take two items, you combine them, then you get the best result. Three, you have the support of an established brand. The brand equity itself sells for you. So you don't have to start afresh printing pamphlets, doing podcasts, and advertising is expensive at times, so you don't have the marketing budget. Now you have a team that actually helps you in terms of just putting the brand out, and for you, all what you do is to plug in, and you start working. Fourthly, you have the support of the franchisor and any other partners of the ecosystem. So it's quite important that you use the facilities that are available to you, the necessary support, training, and all those kind of things. Mentoring, coaching now, as you know. So I think that it is quite easy to use the business model.
Are there sectors in particular that are more attractive than others in terms of franchising? One immediately thinks, when I think franchising, usually I think more in the food space, and particularly fast food and takeouts and the likes. But as you say, it spans multiple sectors. Are there sectors where it's easier to get in, and sectors where the amount of work that you'll have to put in is even extra?
I think I remember one of the benefits is that the system is almost the same. So in food, in automotive, in fuel, in wellness, health, duty and care, education. So the system is the same. So I wouldn't say there's any sector that is not easy, because every person that wants to get into, either you want to be the franchisor, you have to work extremely hard to establish the brand. If you want to be a franchisee, you have to fit in with the franchisor. They have to do your assessment. You have to prove you are bankable. You have to prove that you can work hard in the business. You have to also show some skills, because you just don't go into franchising because you happen to have funds or you have access to funds. You need to know how to run a business. One of the mistakes that maybe I should warn about is the issue of just loving the food or just loving the product. Now you want to buy and be a franchisee in the business, when you don't have any skill of running a business. All what you are taking is the taste of your liking and want to run a business. That's not the way. That is why we also identified that in terms of your experience with the person that you know, we have now come up with a franchise business education model, what we call the franchise manager occupational training module.
Yeah.
Where we say any entrepreneur that wants to get into franchising and you don't have the necessary skills, this is the training that you can undergo for a year, and when you come out, you are a graduate like any other professional business. Now you can run a business. It will be easy for you to attract franchisors to want to offer you opportunities. It will be easy to access funding, because it's the same as being a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer. When you go to a bank and say, look, I'm a qualified engineer, I want to start a business, it is quite easy for you to be bankable.
Right. So as a parting shot then, the conference is still months away in terms of time. It's still a couple of weeks away. But the theme, when it does roll around on the 19th of February, will be building the South African economy through franchising. And within that, you have a particular focus that is inclusive franchising. What is that, and how does that build on the model and help us deal with some structural issues in the South African economy?
Cecilio, you'll understand that from our history, we have large number of entrepreneurs that were excluded from participation. Could be due to the different circumstances. Now we have an opportunity of entrepreneurs who have been working for corporate businesses. They have amassed amounts that they want to use to start businesses. And we are saying you have an opportunity. There are businesses that exist already in the country. Some are franchised, some are not. So our idea is to say those that have been running businesses that are not franchised, come on board. Let us help you to franchise your businesses. One, because franchising helps you to upscale your business. Unlike having a corner there, you have an excellent product, you have an excellent business, but you cannot grow because you concentrate on the same customers. Somebody comes next door, then they take away some of your customers. So let us help you to upscale your business.
Yeah.
Two, we have aspirant entrepreneurs, but some they are not yet decided. What kind of business do they want to do? What business they want to invest in? And we are saying, as the Franchise Association of South Africa, we have members who have franchise investment opportunities. Come and explore those. Come, let's meet up in one room and network.
All right.
So that is why we have amassed the kind of entities. You have your ABSA, your WNR teacher skills, your Certificata, you have your NetBank, you have all those kinds of who come and say, let's come and play a role in bringing this journey of taking franchising to another level, because our target is to grow to the 20%, so that we contribute more to the GDP, create jobs. I mean, we have a youth unemployment issue. So if we don't use the best business more to create jobs. Where are we hoping that we'll get jobs?
Yeah, all right.
From?
Freddie, thank you for that. It's a conversation we are sure to return to the closer we get to your conference. That's Freddie Makgato, CEO of the Franchise Association of South Africa.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
It's been a heavy Wednesday across much of the northern parts of Joburg. We still are dealing with the stationary vehicle N1 South at Allendale. That route is already backed up anyway because of the earlier issues on the M1 South at Rivonia. So if you're on the run through Midrand, it's just really unusually heavy for this time of morning. Normally you'd come out of Pretoria, things are starting to ease, but not today. From Samrand all the way down to Buccleuch is pretty jam-packed. The N3 from Alex up into Buccleuch is heavy. The N1 now from Rivonia down towards Winnie Mandela is heavy. An incident and a crash at Rivonia earlier backed that traffic up. That's all cleared, but that big backlog is now released very slowly down towards the Winnie Mandela off-ramp. So just a lot of pressure on that N1 South, Midrand, four ways, N3 North from Alex. Traffic really heavily quite backed up. The Mike 1 from Boysons up to Parktown stays heavy as well. And then behind that, the M2 coming in from Joe Slovo territory to get into the Mike 1 via Crown stays really quite heavy as well. Durban has eased up nicely. It was a very busy run through Spaghetti Junction into the roadworks towards Mgena Road, but that's all cleared up. Probably about 20-30 minutes ago we saw that easing, and it's a good run. Also the M4 from Umhlanga Durban that was heavy around Virginia Airport, that has all eased up nicely. Still very slow coming out of Cape Town's Tableview area, Malabongwe to the N7, Bloberg down to Kuberg Road towards the refineries bad, and the West Coast Road Marine Drive option from Sunningdale all the way through to Sunset Beach remains under pressure. And a crash on the N2 outbound at Muway in Khayelitsha. That's heavy from about the airport runway, and behind that the R300 chock-a-block going south through Delft to try and get in to that N2 outbound delay. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
I don't love going to school. I don't love sitting in a classroom with 50 other children, but I do love learning. Ngiyakuthanda ukufunda isiXhosa as a language. I do love getting good grades. I do love UCT Online High School because I do love my future. Apply online before the 26th of January.
The thirst for maximum points has kicked in. Ziga Mambo and Amakosi are both looking for first victory in Group D. This is the bottom of the table contest of the CAF Confederation Cup. Witness the Southern African Derby, Zesco United clashes with Kaizer Chiefs on Sunday, 25 January at 2:30 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Then on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Hello, January. You feel different to December. December was nice, wasn't it? January is strange like that. Because as much as December was easy, January is hard. Giving things up, getting fit, looking ahead, making plans, changing plans. And 11 months later, it's December again. And on it goes. Year after year after year. The thing is, December is how you should feel when you retire. And all the time you spend getting there should make it worth it. That's why, after 50 years of investing, we've learned that time is the greatest gift of all. And the good news is, if you invest early, time gives you money. And then money gives you more time to do the things you want to do. Like turning your Januaries into Decembers. Ellen Gray, long-term investing. Ellen Gray is an authorized FSP.
Call Thulasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
All right, let me start with a voice note that has to do with Julius Malema. Let me hear what that is about.
Good morning, Thulasizwe. I don't think Malema will serve that 15 years of imprisonment as the experts of law predict. Judiciary of this country, when coming to the politicians, it plays different games. Look what happened with Zuma when he was found guilty of the contempt of the court. He didn't serve the imprisonment time that he was supposed to. This is what will happen with Malema. Mulatin Bloemfontein.
Yeah, Mulati. I hear you, but also I think the various factors that go into consideration of an appropriate sentence. Because remember, for all the times that Julius Malema has appeared in court, he actually has not been convicted of a crime before. He's been to the Equality Court quite a number of times, and actually was charged at some point, I think that assault case emanating from the funeral of Winnie Madikizela Mandela. So those are all the arguments that you then add to say first-time offender, this is what I've done, this is what, etc., my family situation. In the end, I wonder what an appropriate sentence is. And whatever the sentence that's imposed, the likelihood of it being appealed along with the conviction, I would venture and say is actually quite high. So yeah, let's see how it plays out. It will start on Friday. Let me take a call from Peter in Mthatha. Peter is concerned about Denel, the state arms manufacturer. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. And SFM listeners.
Sure.
I won't waste your time. I just to give you 4 points, and I want you to have the 10 because I need. Yes, Mr. Can you please invite Umamu Enji Motecha to the SAFM? This is in connection with the SADF, South African Defence Force. They have ordered 5 armored vehicles from Denel at the cost of 7 billion. There is none that has been delivered because Denel is in financial woes. The financial woes of Denel has been caused mainly by the VR company, laser company of Gupta that was working under Denel. There was a theft that happened there, a theft of military intellectual property and the classified information. That is a threat to our national security because the information that was stolen there has been given to the United Emirates by the company of the Guptas.
So that's the first point. Sorry, Peter, I have to rush you because we're almost out of time. So that's the first point. We invite Enji Motsecha. What's your second point?
The second point is that within the Denel, there are about 300 senior staff members that were harvested to the United Emirates, so that when they are in the United Emirates, they can keep contact with those who are back here at home to keep on taking the information from Denel. And then point number 4, the Guptas will never come back to South Africa to stand trial. Mula must not fool us because the Guptas stole that information via this company of the laser from the Denel, and they gave it to United Emirates. They have not given that information for free, for sure. So now, as they are there, United Emirates cannot allow that for them to come back because there is that issue of the military intellectual information that is classified, that has been stolen from Denel.
Thank you for that.
There's a national security threat, the threat to national security. We need someone to account on that.
All right, Peter, thank you for that. And by the way, I happen to share your skepticism or your cynicism about the possibility of the Guptas ever coming back to stand trial. It's angibon, guys. I don't see it happening. That's why no one really talks about it anymore. I really, really don't see it. Let me play this one. Voice note on Parliament.
Good morning, Thulasizwe. How are you? I'm fine. I'm myself. I just hear what you telling us what they said of the EFF in Parliament. Can you kindly tell us what Breitenbach has said? Because we just hear the one side of Matthijs, what she said. I didn't hear that commotion in Parliament.
No, that's.
But you kindly just tell us what Breitenbach said.
No,
Thank you.
Absolutely, and it's only fair. So, Glenis Breitenbach was responding to Leon Matthijs saying that the reason Julius Malema is preparing for sentencing is because of the weaponization of the prosecution, and Glenis Breitenbach objected to that and basically said this is inappropriate. Using this platform to bring in those comments are inappropriate. They exchanged words. Basically, Leon Matthijs saying that, who's talking to you? No one is talking to you. Why are you getting involved? And it became a back and forth, and the chairperson was trying to get them to greet each other in a collegial way, and they were not about to have that. So that's what happened. Samuel in Cape Town, you are my last caller. Good morning to you.
Right, Kunjani.
Short and sharp for me, please.
No, fine, my brother. My brother, I want to remind you about the xenophobia in South Africa. When you remember xenophobia in South Africa, it was 2008. This is to come again 2015 after 7 years. But in 7 years on the Bible, that is the punishment. When the people of Israel, they get 7 years in Egypt, you see, Father. But our president, like the people of South Africa, they say, President of South Africa, listen to our views and our problems. But when you are a president, you can think back. People in South Africa was crying for this and this and this. But no, as I see, say, in Africa, as a man, this is a tribalism, Father man. You see, because the leaders of Africa can make a solution, but we play a soccer together, African Cup of Nations. But them leaders in Africa can't make a solution about Africans, my brother.
Yeah. Samuel, I've got to apologize for taking your call so late in the show. I tell you what, next time you call in, I should try and take you a bit early so that we tease out a bit more of your thinking, especially around the collaboration and cooperation and living side by side among Africans. I've got to leave it there for this morning. The Talking Point is up next with Kathy Motlatlana. I'm Thulasizwe Simelane. You've been briefed.
Thank you, Tulas and the team on the top stories. Suspects in the Phala farm theft expected back in court today, and MKP accuses the ANC of misusing public funds. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good morning. Suspects in the theft of $580,000 at President Cyril Ramaphosa's Phala farm in Bilabila are expected to be back in the Mudimwile Magistrates Court in Limpopo today. Emmanuela David and the co-accused, who are siblings Floriana and Ndilina Sho Joseph, allegedly stole about 10 million rand in US dollars stuffed in a sofa at the farm in February 2020. A cell phone data analyst testified that the accused were on the farm on the day of the break-in. The court also